What time is it? It's
Tonight, the revolution begins. I'm expecting a fight, hoping for a war. We are the Bullet Club. I am the greatest living professional wrestler alive. One by one, they will all follow me. Bada boom, realest guys in a room. How you know? Feed me more. Do you know what this is? Last night, after the Dudley Boys put me through a table, the WWE medical team had to remove this piece of wood from my buttocks. Pause.
Ladies and gentlemen, wrestling to the mat.
And your hosts, Gary Vaughn, Sean Garmer, and Paul Vieser.
Alrighty, this is Wrestling the Max episode 162. And we certainly are going to have an extravaganza on our hands here tonight.
That's right, Sean. I love it.
You got it.
Yeah, he got it for sure. Just like you got milk, right, Paul?
Exactly.
There you go. So, okay, guys, we definitely are going to be talking about that All-Star Extravaganza. That's right, the one that Ring of Honor just had this past week. We can't wait to talk about it. Yes, it's been a while since it's been on, but guess what? We are going to cover it. We haven't had a chance to talk about it, so we definitely can't wait to get into that. Plus, we're also going to talk about what happened on the Fallout Raw of Fallout of Night of Champions, basically, on Raw. So that's going to be a big, interesting storyline, too, with all the different things that have transpired since. Plus, don't forget, we cover NXT in this show. You'll see acts like Eva Marie and the Vaudevillains in that show. You don't want to miss that. Plus, TNA talk like we always do every week. So we've got a full show, lots of different things to get into, plus some interesting quick hits that you guys don't want to miss. And, just to let everybody know, we had some discussion pre-show. Now, we originally promised everybody that we were going to talk some New Japan on this show. The situation is not all of us, it's me pointing at me, watched the New Japan show because I blanked. Me and Sean do a sports show as well, and I've worked on that show and worked on the wrestling show and just forgot the New Japan show to cover. So we're actually going to save that. We're actually going to do a special this Sunday night, and we're going to be covering New Japan's shows that we just, we have been planning.
Shows
on
one show.
Basically, yes.
We'll still preview the Destruction in Kobe that's going to happen on Sunday because it'll be old by the time we talk. We'll be reviewing it, so we'll give you the preview. There's also New Japan people on ROH TV this week, so you're still getting New Japan. You just won't get a full review of the show that happened on Wednesday morning until Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to have a special guy that you heard on the G1 Climax final show. And we might, I don't know, I haven't talked to Robert, but we might bring him in too. So we might have a big old collage of people in to talk about those shows.
Yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. So definitely be looking forward to this Sunday night. You'll get your Okayama talk, and you'll also get your Kobe talk. Both those are going to be fun. We will do the preview here for Kobe, so don't miss that. But just to let you guys know, all the different shows will be put in one special Sunday night show you don't want to miss. So, but guys, man, it has been a fun, interesting weekend. Besides, different wrestling stuff that we've got a chance to watch. Of course, we're very heavily into fantasy football here at Wrestling to the Max. We have a Wrestling to the Max fantasy football group we love, and it's a lot of fun to play in. And I don't know about you, Paul, but I've been struggling. I haven't done so great. How have you been doing on your team?
I'm doing good in one league, and that one league is not any of the ones that we all three are in.
I'm hoping that's one of your money leagues, right?
It is. It is the money league. I'm 2-0 so far.
Ooh, see, there you go, man. Doing well, It is kind of interesting though, because I'm kind of the same way. I'm doing good in some of the leagues that we're not in, and then some of the other leagues I'm 0-2. So it's been a weird year for me. My choices have been kind of odd though. How about you, Sean? How do you feel about your wrestling, your W2M league?
I'm 2-0 in that league, so I am feeling great about that league. Feeling pretty good this week as well. I completely just blanked on who I'm facing, but I'm feeling good as to maybe go 3-0 and keep it going. I'm doing pretty good in all the leagues so far, except for I think one of the leagues at least every league I've won a game. So
yeah, well, good. Yeah, it is very difficult to win these games at times because it's all selective. You got guys you think are going to do well and they end up not doing well. So that's the way everything works out. I'm in this week, especially for my team, I'm no longer going to trust the certain individual that has been failing miserable. That certain individual is of course one Philadelphia Eagles quarterback that I've just not had any faith in since his terrible situation. So I'm going to go with Tyrod Taylor this week, and hopefully he has a great game for me in my league. But guys, we love playing fantasy football and we have a great time doing it. But once again, you're stuck in these situations where you can't get out of them because you drafted this guy and you can't just cut him. Sometimes you just wish that you had the opportunity just to pick a team out of the blue on a week-to-week basis. That way you can just get the best of it and you can get some extra money. And, and of course, I know, Paul, I think you know best and how to get that done.
I certainly do. The problem is I don't have that in front of me right now.
Well, I'll have to do it for the second show in a row.
That's right, Sean. Tell us how it works.
I figured I'm dumb and I completely forgot to tell Paul that it's the same one from last week because this is the last week that we are doing DraftKings.com. Apparently, Spreaker has done so well that they're going to cut the thing off a couple days early. I don't blame them for trying to save money. They're going to have to give all of us a little bit of a cut here. But football season has only just begun. We're still in week 3, pretty early in the season going on. So, but for DraftKings, it feels like the playoffs, of course. America's favorite one-week fantasy football site, that is DraftKings.com, where millionaires are being crowned all season long. One-week fantasy at DraftKings means no season-long commitments. It's fantasy football on demand. You can pretty much play where you want, when you want, and especially the most important thing is with those players that you want. You don't have to do like us and just draft and deal with the same guys every week. And with $1 million up for grabs, every game is a big game and every play matters. So 1st and 10 in the first quarter feels like 4th and goal with 1 second left, and a long touchdown run could mean more than just a victory for your favorite team. It could mean you've just turned your love of football into $1 million payday. This isn't fantasy as usual. It is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Heard DraftKings.com now. Use promo code Spreaker to play for free for a shot at $1 million in this week's Millionaire Maker event. Enter Spreaker for free entry now, only at DraftKings.com. And once again, I got to remind you, it's DraftKings.com, guys. Do it now. All
Definitely.
Right.
Damn, count it.
For sure.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have way too much doing this.
And we publicly do want to say we thank you to Spreaker for giving us the opportunity to basically, be a part of this thing. And DraftKings is awesome. We definitely appreciate them, and we love, making sure that everybody knows about DraftKings because it's a great product and it's a great way to play fantasy. So we're on board, and hey, if they want us to be on board, we're always on board with those guys. So they just let us know. Well, we are going to go ahead and get into some wrestling news. So why don't we go ahead and stop on over to some quick hits? How about it?
It's time for wrestling news. Quick hits.
All right, everybody. Well, there are some big, things that have come out in this past week, and we are, really excited about talking about a few things in this show. especially when it comes to news. One thing that we really want to talk about, though, is the fact of, WrestleMania 32 is coming up. We all know that we're getting on the road to WrestleMania, and we're so excited about doing it because some of the big things are be happening this year at WrestleMania 32. One thing that has come out that, is going to be kind of interesting, basically because of Night of Champions. We saw Sting get injured, which stinks. I mean, we definitely want that guy to be healthy, and at his age, we all have, our concerns about his health and, can he continue? But the one thing that, we are, wondering is, will he wrestle at WrestleMania 32? And the situation that he's in could affect that. Now, the one person that they've kind of lined up for him to be facing off against at WrestleMania 32 apparently was Bray Wyatt. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen. I hope it does. It seems more likely that it could than it won't. But do you guys think that this is the matchup that you would like to see at WrestleMania 32?
I can't tell you that sets me all tither or anything. I know we've talked about them two possibly hooking up at some point, and maybe if Bray's momentum changes when before then, maybe that'll get people interested. But right now, he's been dumped on for so long. You got to do a lot, I think, to get him up there to challenge Sting.
Yeah, I agreed with Paul here. They're gonna have. I mean, we did see it again when he was gonna face Undertaker. They went through this quick, okay, let's make Bray look strong. They can certainly do that again. To me, I think it's more important that now that the injury is not as severe, I would say that Bray Wyatt is somebody who doesn't really do a ton of. We're not going to see him do buckle bombs. He's going to protect Sting a little bit more. It's going to be a little more, much more ground based. So you don't have to worry so much about Sting getting hurt. If that's something they can certainly think about, where you don't have to go, oh my God, is Sting going to have another concussion or mess up his neck again or whatever. I think you're pretty safe there. So I hope that Vince has a change of heart when we get to WrestleMania time and say, hey, considering who he's wrestling, let's let him do this.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the best thing for WWE to do, is to make sure that they put him in a situation where he's safe. And of course, that's what they're going to do. Of course, we know that WWE didn't purposely put him in a situation where he was going to get injured. We know Seth Rollins probably just made a mistake, and that's going to happen. That happens in the business of wrestling. I mean, there's so many different situations and so many things that they've got to worry about that, that things happen. So, and I think, we could see that happen. We could possibly not. We're still waiting on, the word from Sting, I'm sure, and of course from WWE to say, hey, we are still interested in having him in the ring, because from my experience and listening to what WWE said about certain talent, that if they got a big injury, they're very, very leery about putting them back in the ring. They're not, high on.
Daniel Bryan and many others.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. So, it's talking about another legend that could be at WrestleMania 32, and we all expect to be at WrestleMania 32. That is The Undertaker. Like always, I mean, you can't have WrestleMania without an Undertaker match, right? Well, who is the opponent this year going to be? That's the big question. Now, we keep seeing him, with Brock Lesnar, and, that name, is always in the thought. But the one name that we really haven't talked about in a while is John Cena, and another one is Seth Rollins. We also have another name pop up here for a possible WrestleMania 32 matchup for Undertaker, and that's Braun Strowman. And that guy, is huge. He's just a massive, massive man, and him to face off against Undertaker scares me because of what we've seen Brock Lesnar do to Undertaker.
It would certainly be status quo for Undertaker of old to face the big, huge man that WWE has at the moment. So.
But, you're right, very much so. So, out of those three names that I just mentioned, I mean, what would you most want to see?
Oh, Jesus. I can't say a lot of these guys intrigue me. Like, Braun Strowman doesn't need to be a thing. Let's just be honest.
I hope that's invented. I hope that's one of those inventions, just because him and Kane are facing off against Harper and Strowman in Mexico, and just not that's even being thought about for WrestleMania, because that'd be horrible.
Well, what if Kane and Undertaker, the Brothers of Destruction, faced off against the Wyatts? Harper and Strowman.
No. I'm good with it for Mexico. I don't want to see it at WrestleMania again. The thing is, for me, Seth Rollins would be pretty cool because it would kind of go in with the whole Kane thing. It would kind of be a whole lead up into Seth Rollins being, he's the man now, all this stuff. And you could certainly, now here's the only problem I have, is that apparently now Taker has said this is not going to be his last, well, not Taker has said, but certainly apparently Vince believes he's going to keep wrestling. If this was his last match, wouldn't it be a total statement for Seth Rollins to be the guy that beats Undertaker in his last match? I think Cena is great. Certainly it's a marquee matchup. It will sell. But it's something that has lost a lot of its luster for me now that the streak is no longer around. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen Cena and Taker hook up. And I can't say it doesn't sound interesting just because they'll hype it up as this huge thing with those two guys there. I think with Seth, it's an interesting prospect. It certainly sticks to the idea of Taker wrestling younger people to help sort of cover for him, like he had been doing with Punk or Wyatt to a certain degree. I think did a really good job with him too. But I think the possibility of Seth Rollins is a good one, especially if Rollins still has the belt too. Just gosh, think about how awesome a main event that would be.
Oh, for sure. I think that's the better scenario. Cena, yes, that's going to get a lot of recognition, but honestly, anywhere Cena's on in this card is going to get recognition. So why not use Taker and Cena separately? That way you can get more of a power-packed, card. And I think that would be the better option than putting those two guys together. Rollins is definitely, because you, like Sean said, the Kane aspect and having all these other things that you could add to it is perfect. So, I don't know. I think that's the way I would lean. For me personally, I think I'd agree with Paul on that. Looking at that, we talked about Kane, and this is a segue because of the fact that we're just now seeing Kane come back to TV, and he's going to lead on that road as well to WrestleMania. The situation that he's in right now is he's kind of playing a dual role of, we've got corporate Kane and then we got the demon Kane, and corporate Kane is playing off that he doesn't know what's going on and why people are talking about him being the demon. So looking at this situation, we have another wrestler in the business who is not happy about this. That man is Abyss, and he feels like that, hey, he's done this character before, this type of situation at least, with his character as the lawyer, and then, of course, as the Abyss monster that he is. I want to know what you guys think about this. Does Abyss have a point here, and does he have a reason to be angry that Kane is doing this?
Sure, he has a point. We're seeing a lot of go between storylines, and we've seen it before with TNA and WWE too. We've seen it with WWE and Ring of Honor. Here's the thing, though: in WWE, it's going to be written better. Case in point, Joseph Hart. It was fun at times, but gosh, it was a struggle at other times. And so far they're off to a great start here with Kane as Mask and corporate. So
I would completely agree on that point that it's going to be written better. So that's already a win there. Will creative hopefully just creative doesn't run out of ideas and it goes on way too long, and then you're worried about it from that aspect. But I think we're okay because we know who's going to be behind it, and if they really want this to work, they'll get it to work. So I'm not. I think also Abyss needs to stop acting like this hasn't been done before. TNA did it, and it's wrestling. Everybody steals from everybody at some point. How many times did TNA steal from WWE? It's WWE's blatantly stolen from TNA before several things. It's just. Who cares at this point? I think Jay Lethal said it best when he said he was honored. That's how you should feel. Just be honored the big company's taking from you. Just hush.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's just still, if it would be different for me if you were in the same promotion and you had someone doing that same gimmick, taking for what you've already done in the same promotion, but totally different promotion. Let's be honest. a majority of the people watching TNA are, if they're watching WWE, that's great, but I think a lot of the people that do watch TNA, maybe those fans that are really holding on strong, or they're people like us who watch everything that encompasses wrestling, and they're just fans, and they're not going to be, looking at you or anything your gimmick is differently because Kane's doing it, I think he's a little bit, upset for the wrong reasons. That's for me personally. But we were talking about masks here, okay? So we got, Kane has his mask, Abyss has his mask, but there are lots of other guys in the world of wrestling that wear masks. And I hope you guys know where I'm alluding to, because we had some big news this week, and it excites me. And Sean, what music are we going to be hearing sooner than later that what we weren't sure we were going to hear?
My computer is being just wonderful right now.
So
the answer is the sound of silence.
Yeah. That's TNA's future, Sean. I'm talking about another promotion.
I know. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Oh, Lucha Underground is getting its second season. It was announced this past week. We are all excited about this. This is just thrilling because we weren't sure about their future. We heard a lot of rumors that it may not happen. Finances were difficult to come by. We know the show is expensive. We definitely understand why, because of the quality that they put into it. But just to know that there is a second season, we're getting an opportunity to see it. How excited are you about watching this?
We're all extremely excited. I mean, we gushed about this show for the 30-something weeks it was on. The big thing, so with me, I read this thing that Vampiro went on this giant tirade across one of the social media websites that he's on. I can't remember which one. About how he wanted higher up executives to get on board and strike while the iron's hot and give them season 2. And then not even a week later, hey guys, season 2.
Wow.
But there might be one guy that, he's being a little... He was confirmed, and then he came out quick to say, hey, I have not been confirmed. Mr. Alberto El Patron. I mean, he was a big part of the later parts of the season. He had that great rivalry with Johnny Mundo there. Is it a big deal if Patron's not on Lucha Underground for you?
Not at all. The show did fine without him. Before he got there, I'm sure it'll do just fine with if he doesn't decide to show up for season 2. I mean, he's a great wrestler, but
I agree. He's, it is what he is. He's a great name. He's a great talent. But let's be honest. To me, this promotion isn't built around just names. It's built around young stars. It's built around these characters that either people have never heard of because they don't know anything about AAA, or they're just characters that really excite you because of what storylines, the backgrounds they have. Their comic book characters come to life, and legitimately. Because there's a lot of supernatural things as a part of the show. So that's what's exciting. It's not all about, what big star am I going to see next? It's all about, the excitement of these people die on this show. It's not just like, any other wrestling product. This is not WWE, ROH, TNA. This is a completely different animal, and that's what makes it exciting for me. So, without Patron, it doesn't matter. I think he'll be okay.
Just think of the tequila, Gary.
That's right, the tequila. Okay, so before Sean gets me in a different mind frame, yeah, I mean this is exciting. I know we all are, and so, but let's go ahead and we got some other big news here that we need to talk about, and some things that are kind of interesting, and that's one of these things is the Brock Lesnar's big thing coming out in the near future, and that is his Go to Hell tour. And we didn't get a chance to talk about this in depth. Of course, when we did the Night of Champions show, we didn't jump into it. We just had a lot to talk about with those guys. So let's jump into it now. Looking at this and looking at the full slate of things going on, of course, we know he's going to be on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast. He's going to be at Hell in the Cell and face off against the Undertaker. The different things that are a part of this Go to Hell tour, though, I just got to know, is this exciting to you just to get a chance to when you watch the whole promo that Paul Heyman did you get excited?
Yeah. I mean, Paul Heyman's talking to me. I'm usually excited about something. I mean,
what's going to be the most interesting, though? I mean, out of everything you saw, what are you most interested in?
I mean, just the whole tour is going to be interesting, really, because one, it's Mexico, so you get to see how a different cultural audience is going to react to stuff like that you get in WWE, because it's really that's the most fascinating thing to me is when WWE goes overseas somewhere and they give you glimpses to what the crowd's like when they go to England or when they went to Japan or if they ever show something from China or something like that. Just the way the crowd differently interacts with them as opposed to we do here is always really interesting to me.
Yeah, I love that. If we're getting anything from that Mexico tour, it's just pretty cool because just like when we watch any New Japan stuff or when we watch anything that's different from what we see all the time, it's really cool to see the different atmosphere, the different everything. Just Mexican fans they like different things, so it'd be kind of interesting to see what they like, what if they boo anything, if anybody's hated there. It's always gives you a different glimpse into what people think.
Mm-hmm. No, for sure. And I think the same thing. And there's a few things. I mean, that's going to be great. I'm excited about seeing him in Stone Cold Steve Austin's podcast because I just want to know what they're going to talk about. I'm really curious to see what Stone Cold, if he brings up the fact that he didn't want to, lose to Brock Lesnar, that he didn't want to take the fall. I want to hear about that. I want to hear Brock Lesnar's take on that. Things like that. I just get excited about stuff like, getting those real in-depth interviews. So we'll have to see how that all works out. But I think this Go to Hell tour is going to be amazing. I'm so glad that Dallas, Texas is on that list. I don't know if, Paul, are you going to that show in Raw?
Maybe.
Maybe. I know. I'm the same boat. I really want to, especially with the talent that are going to be coming in here. Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair is going to be there. Undertaker is going to be there. Of course, Brock Lesnar. It's just going to be a packed show. It's going to be so cool. I can't wait. So there's a good chance I will go. I'm getting pressured by some other friends, too, to go. So,
that always helps things.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be really cool, and I'm excited about it, too. It's something else we need to talk about, guys. And, this is another new story that came out this week, and it just involves Eva Marie. We've seen the fact that, Eva Marie has, of course, got some push in the WWE. We see her just on this next episode of NXT we're going to talk about. But the thing is we've been talking about that push, that she's going to eventually get a title shot. And she is, probably going to win and hold on to the women's title in NXT. But apparently those plans have been nixed. And they are looking more into Dana Brooke. They're also looking more into Osaka to be the people that they want to kind of get to that next level to face off against Bayley. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that they're cutting Eva Marie short, or do you think that they're a little bit concerned of what they're getting out of what they've put into her?
If they have brains in their heads, they're concerned. If they're watching NXT, they're really concerned. Oh man. Honestly, I'd rather them go with Dana Brooke right now. I know she's nowhere near ready either, but yeah, I feel like she could have a more competent match with Bayley. And if they want to go with the Kana, now known as Asuka, that's fine with me too, because Kana is a wonderful worker and somebody who you could automatically put in that spot, and you'll keep getting that same quality of matches.
I love how all three of us are about to say her name differently here, but it's great. It's also WWE's fault because they said it one way, then they change it the next way. Apparently, they've used the Evangelion version of it, with I guess Asuka or whatever. So that's cool. I'm glad that they're pronouncing things correctly. I was so worried they were going to do the English Azuka, which is so yeah. Because those it'll just turn off certain people. I didn't pronounce something correctly. Let me just hate on you for weeks and weeks, or give you another reason to hate on people. But anyway, I mean, that's cool if they're already doing her. I love the fact that I saw a tweet with like Sasha Banks like hugging her and saying that she's happy to have people like her here. I mean, that's like really just the whole thing of seeing her in NXT already, and like already getting to picture that match with her and Bayley, mouth watering, you know. So if they want to do Dana first, so that they can kind of give Kana time to get assimilated everything, I think that's a much better way to go. Plus, you already got the heat with Dana. You got the weird NXT crowd liking her in certain spots, but with Bayley, you know she's going to get all the hate. You know.
Yeah, Lord, I keep forgetting about Emma too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I man, that sucks that she's probably going to get thrown to the wasteland again when she definitely deserves a shot. But I mean, she did have a lot of stuff with Bayley already leading up to her getting the title, so.
Hey, I'll say this, you know, Emma's always got a shot if WWE will ever hold a match at a Walmart, because she'll steal the show.
God bless you, Gary.
Hi, Gary. You're just going to keep running that thing into the ground,
Just got to do it. So, and
I
I'm
forgot to ask you,
Uh-huh.
Gary,
Go
before
ahead.
we started the show. Are you nay-naying or are you whipping right now?
A little bit of both. But watch me, and that's what you'll get. So
That's fair.
I love how you totally just, you know.
Well,
undersold that, Gary.
I'm afraid if I, you know, said I was whipping right now, people would get a picture of me, you know, in leather, and yeah. So we'll go with nay-naying. How about that? So,
Fair enough.
yeah.
Good Lord, what are they supposed to picture if you're doing a little bit of both, man?
Ooh. Let's just enjoy that image. So let's.
Or how about not?
Yeah. So let's go on to something else. Another image we don't want to talk about, but we're going to bring it up. And I apologize for people having to listen to a depressing part of this quick hits, but it's kind of important. It's been out there on the news, and I want to bring it up just to hear what you guys feel about this. Now, it doesn't involve any wrestlers. It involves wrestlers' families, and I think these two guys know what I'm talking about. Kurt Angle's brother, and we're just going to say allegedly because we're not in the courtroom. We're not people that were there. But allegedly, David Angle, the oldest brother in the Angle family, allegedly murdered his wife. Now, this whole thing broke down because he claims that she wanted him to drink with her. He did not want to drink. She consistently begged him or bugged him, whatever, to drink. He got upset, got her down on the floor of some sort, put his feet on her chest, and pulled her arms until she was unconscious. So I don't know what he was doing. That sounds very odd, a weird way to submit someone or keep them from doing what... Yeah, it's terrible. But basically, let's just say strangulated her in a weird, odd way. So she passed away. She was pronounced dead at the hospital the next morning. This is just a sad situation for Kurt Angle. You know, and I hate that this has happened to him, but what do you think? Do you think that Angle can overcome this? Because I know it's not Kurt Angle, but man, this is his family, and people like, you know, WWE, they're very image conscious. Do you think this is going to hurt his future at all?
This is a tougher one because it's not specifically him. It's not like he has anything to do with what happened. So I don't know if it's really going to affect him all that much. And, you know, for all we know, it could, you know. But I don't see it really having all that much effect. I mean, it's a terrible thing that happened, obviously, if this did happen. But still, I don't know if it's going to harpoon any of his chances or anything like that.
I don't think it does either, because does anybody even freaking know who David Angle is? I mean, so, you know, I don't think this is one of those things. It's a news bit that you hear about that day and you forget about a day later. Because this stuff happens all the time around the world, around the United States, sadly. And just because this guy's the brother of Kurt Angle, I just don't, like, had it been, you know, maybe Karen Jarrett that, you know, is the one that had it happen to her or something like that, or one of, I don't know, just somebody that was much closer in, like, wrestling relevance, maybe, but I just don't see it really, Not to mention, by the time WWE would even be able to talk to him, this is like in no one's purview at that point.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Very true. And we had to talk about it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it, let's be honest. I just wanted to bring it up. It's been something in the wrestling world
I just
and
made
around.
it a point for the Sunday show. It had just come out that day. I didn't want to soil that show with that.
So I soil in this one with it. No,
no, it's just this is kind of where we get into the hard crap sometimes.
You're exactly right, and I think this is the right place to do it because it's been getting closer to a week old, and you need all the information. We've got enough information now; we can clearly talk about it. So, but not once again, this does not affect Kurt Angle a whole lot; it just affects him personally. So, we don't have to sit on it for a long time. But one last topic before we do some fire quick hits. SmackDown has been a big thing, lately with Vince McMahon. He really wants to get people watching that show again. They've been trying to find out how they can make it better. They're apparently going to be putting some stack cards together, making some big main events. And, of course, they're planning on doing this for quite a while. They want to push this 2 months, maybe even a 3-month span of just really, really good shows. But in the thought process, apparently they want to make it awesome, but then slow it down and then get back to where SmackDown is currently. And I know.
This also could just be some
rumors.
Somebody speak that may not actually be intended that way. Who knows? Yeah,
so we like anything, we're going off the news feed. This is not like we sit in meetings and hear these things. So we're going off what we read. So we're going to go off this. Your thought process on this, Paul, is this something that's going to actually help get the viewership and keep the viewership, or are people just going to fall right off again?
So we're going to make SmackDown really awesome for 3 months, and then we're going to go back to what we've been doing. That'll fix it. Can we cue the Patrick Stewart facepalm meme right now? Can we do that?
I wish I had it. So that has to be one of the dumbest things I've read this week. If that's really your thought process, why the hell even do it anyway?
Yeah.
I just don't. I mean, how do you go from making a show important to all of a sudden you're just going to decide a certain time period you're going to not make it important again? What do you think? We're just going to all of a sudden not catch on that it's not important all of a sudden? I mean, again, this is WWE thinking that their fans are stupid. It's just, come on. People have already caught on that it doesn't matter now, or there would be more than 1.9 million people watching it. So, if you made people care about it, especially if it's going to be live at all, or if it's going to be on a different day.
Mm-hmm.
If it goes back to Fridays at all, you better be making it important, because that thing could die a death pretty quickly on that day. So
agreed. And you like Sean's saying, you just can't do too many changes because SmackDown's already struggling. If you can even get half of the audience that you got now, staying interested after you just totally drop them back off again, it's going to be amazing. I think that they can get a viewership that is maybe, I don't know, about maybe 50% what they got now, higher, but there's no way you're going to keep an audience if you do anything that's dumbed down. They're just going to go leave and you're going to lose.
Do they not want people to watch SmackDown?
That's a good question.
Do they just want it to be a show where they can just throw stuff on and go, okay, and we'll care about it when we want to? And it's why wouldn't you want people to be engaged into your television show more than just the 3 hours of Raw? You want them to be engaged for the whole 5 hours. I mean, it's just it seems so asinine. That would be if any other show all of a sudden decided that they wanted to have 2 shows a week instead of 1, and the Friday shows where we're going to put on the B members of the cast and hope to God that you actually watch it. It'd be okay, we're going to put on part of the Walking Dead guys on Fear of the Walking Dead, and we're going to tell you that there's a crossover, but we're not going to bring all the other people you know, just some of them. And it's
Yeah.
going to be like that every week. Eventually, people are just going to be like, okay, well, I don't need to watch this Fear of the Walking Dead show because it's like, it feels like a B-class citizen to the regular walk. I mean, it's dumb.
Mhm.
It's pathetic, and WWE themselves, if that's what Vince is thinking, then that shows me they don't need to even have SmackDown, honestly. Just do away with SmackDown, period, if that's what you're thinking about your show.
Exactly. So, if it's not important enough for you to make it, special for the fans, and hey, just get rid of it, like Sean says, because I just don't imagine success coming out of that situation at all. So, all right, guys. Well, before we get on out of the news, we got to do some rapid hits. So get ready, hold on to your pants, because here we go. All right, The Rock is going to be a father, and here he comes with a new little baby pretty soon. What do you guys think?
Congrats to him. Congrats to his longtime girlfriend. Kids are always a wonderful occasion.
Awesome. Rock, you get to join the father club. So that's always a special thing.
He already has a daughter, though, doesn't he?
We weren't sure about that. I forgot.
I think he
Does he?
does.
I think he does, actually. I couldn't remember if he did or not.
Me either. We didn't look that up. But that is congratulations. Hey, being a multiple dad. That's great. Randy Orton is apparently going to be the guy who joins up with Reigns and Ambrose for a little while here. Good or bad?
I won't say good or bad, but I will say meh.
I was going to say indifferent, but yeah, same thing here. It's, anytime you tell me Randy Orton's going to do something with somebody, that's sort of the take I'm going to have most of the time.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Joey Styles is going to be a part of WWE 2K16. That's right. He is going to be covering the Austin match that was in ECW. I'm already blanking on the guy's name. But that is kind of cool thing. What do you guys think?
Mikey Whipwreck?
Yes, there you go.
Totally down for it. Anything to add more credibility to whatever you're putting into that game is always going to get a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, I mean, that's the nice little things that you like to hear about them putting in the game. Like, oh, this is one match, but we're going to have Joey Styles do it because he would have been the guy to do it if this was actually ECW. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. They don't have to spend that time. They could easily just be lazy and put Michael Cole or whoever there, and they're not doing it. So I appreciate it.
Cody Rhodes says he's going to be pissed off if Brock and Cesaro don't battle. What do you think?
I mean, why should I start disagreeing with Cody Rhodes now?
I mean, who's not going to be pissed off is what I want to know. Speaking of that WWE 2K16, did we talk about them not putting the 4 horsewomen in the game at all? Because that, to me, seems like a load of BS. Like, haven't they been in NXT that entire year? You scanned a bunch of other people, you couldn't scan them?
It'll be DLC.
According to Sasha,
they said no DLC.
Yeah, according to Sasha, she said that she was scanned. So it could be lies. It could be smoke and mirrors, if I could quote from Cody Rhodes' old theme music.
Wouldn't you want people to know that they're coming as DLC? That way you'll get excited and want to buy the DLC?
See, we live in an age where they kick you in the pants first and then surprise you with, oh, hey, we were kidding.
But you love it. It's nice.
So dumb.
It is. Very dumb. And one last thing, guys, on this docket, we need to talk about the fact that Carlito feels that WWE lowballed him and he is not going to sign a deal with them. Thoughts?
I mean, it's got to be better than what he's doing now. That's all I can say.
Maybe his dad's giving him a bunch of money. Who knows?
I mean, maybe he's just... I mean, I guess he could be digging Puerto Rico that much, but...
He probably feels like for all the travel he has to do or whatever, that maybe he's getting less than on his previous deal or something, and he feels like... Carlito's got a little attitude on him. Maybe he's not really feeling the whole I have to apologize for the way I was back then kind of, way, and so he thinks that he should be given, if not more, the same as what he was getting before. And maybe WWE feels like, no, you don't, so I mean, if it was going to lead to a Cologne family stable, it sucks we're missing out on that, because maybe Primo and Epico would have been interesting for the first time ever. But, you know, I mean, it's not the end of the world if he doesn't come back.
All right, well, there you go. Well, that is quick, kids. We hope you enjoyed them all. We had a lot of interesting things to talk about, and of course, next week we will too, so you don't want to stay tuned for those. And of course, now it is time for us to move on to Monday Night Raw, but just to let you guys know, hey, Monday Night Raw is sponsored by a certain game that we love talking about. That's right, Math Tumble. It is a blast to play, and if you like math, you're going to love it. If you don't, hey, it's still going to be a fun game for you because you're going to get to learn and enjoy yourself at the same time. Go check out those games because Luby Lou has a lot of great games in their development. They're going to also have a kids version of this game to help your kids, so we want you to go check them out. They're a great company that does games, and you're not going to regret it at all. So, all right, well, here we go, guys. We're going to jump into this.
Hold on, we got to say hi to Mr. Chris Lemke first.
Oh, Chris Lemke, what's up, man?
Hey, not so much, guys. How's it going?
They're pretty good, man. You call in to chat about anything we talked about news-wise, or what's up?
I just had a prediction, because I'm looking at all these WrestleMania rumors, and out of all the people Rollins is going to face, currently it's either Triple H, Taker, or Brock. Two of those three men cannot win the Rumble. Because Triple H winning the Rumble is just, and Taker, I can't even see that as a possibility. So I'm wondering that I'm going to make a guess that the Mania title match is going to be Sheamus versus, and it's been rumored for years, and Vince is going to love this, Daniel Bryan.
Ooh. What do you guys think?
Limchi, it's been a while since I've seen you, man. What have you been smoking?
I've just been hanging up on RVD. That's why he didn't show up on Sunday. So
right on.
It's your fault, Chris. Your fault. As long as it lasts more than 18 seconds, I guess we're okay. You know.
Oh man.
I'm just thinking because Rollins and Trips cannot possibly be the title match, and I just can't see them wasting a Rumble win on either of those three men. So
I agree with you on that. I can't see that either. You know, but stranger things have happened, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I know it would have to end with Sheamus being champion for a little bit. I know none of us want that, but
well, no, Paul might.
I'm fine with Sheamus holding any championship, honestly. I wouldn't count out them giving the Rumble to Brock Lesnar. I mean, he's looked dominant doing everything else. What if he enters at like 5 and just like Germans the entire field out of the ring at one time? Like, it could happen.
That would be insane. But yeah, I mean, with Brock, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And you also have to add in the fact that Strowman's a part of this roster too, so that would be an interesting storyline to have those two guys at the end of the match.
No.
So.
If Strowman is number 2, something went wrong. Just have to say.
Yeah, I'm just telling you.
Suplex City. I'm not seeing the problem there.
I don't know.
I will say this. If Brock is in the Rumble and wins, it's a good chance that their fans won't backlash against that. So
yeah.
That's good.
It's a guarantee.
I don't know. I just feel the longer they hold up Bryan, because I know no matter what, they will probably bring him back for Mania season because they're going to want all eyes on WrestleMania, especially if they win to get 100,000 people in that arena. So I see them holding him out to the Rumble, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that. I mean, and it would be a great, spot to put him to get everybody excited, like you say. So, I mean, I'd be thrilled about it, But, it's a question of really health-wise, where really is he?
Yeah, I think it depends on how much stock you put into the idea of what he said so far about WWE never going to clear him to wrestle again.
Which I find weird, because didn't an NFL doctor clear him?
Yeah, he's had a bunch of different doctors clear. It's just, I feel like maybe there's some internal, resentment there. They don't want to have to deal with the fans might hijack stuff for Bryan again, and
that's my thing. That's why they should bring him back earlier to not, because the longer they keep him out, he's going to get a huge reaction no matter what if he comes back. So
No, I mean, he's going to get a... I'm not saying that part. I'm saying, like, okay, he comes back and he's been gone so long that they don't even care if their other favorite is the one going for the title at that point, that they're going to screw with whatever WWE has going on, and they're going to go crazy for Bryan again, and it's going to screw with what they want to do. And, you know, I'm sure there is a health concern there, because I'm sure if he has another one, it could be a really bad health risk for him.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I mean, to me, I don't see him, like, I guess it's possible you could, but I don't see him, like, dying from having another concussion or whatever. So to me, if I'm WWE, let him go out there. If he has another concussion, well, that's 3 really quick. I'm sorry, but you can't do it.
yeah,
You know, I don't
still
care
to
if
do
you
what he
get
did
hurt
to
again.
Christian. Yeah.
Exactly. Do that. Give him the shot. If he stays healthy, then you do what you got to do with him. You know, I just think you're wasting money at this point. Like, you're wasting the ability to make money. And
Especially
right
for
now,
how low the ratings have been. I am honestly surprised they haven't been like, okay, we got to bring
dude,
Bryan back.
get in
'cause
desperation mode and freaking bring him. I mean, it's stupid not to.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they do the bait and switch like they would Sting, just say you're going to have a Bryan match and see if it pops ratings. Whatever,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's very true. Anything else you wanted to kind of talk about, Chris? Anything else you wanted to bring up?
Well, we're
I don't
about
know,
to start
but-
Raw. I don't know if you wanted to stick around for that or...
Nah, the only thing I want to say about Raw, I found it weird that they didn't really. I mean, I kind of get why they didn't mention Sting, but it's just kind of strange for the guy goes from main eventing a pay-per-view to not mention it all the next day. And again, too, like the Jericho thing was briefly mentioned and then quickly swept under the rug. So I thought those two things were strange.
I think that the Sting thing is they still didn't know clearly what his status was at that point. They didn't want to be wrong.
Hmm.
So, you know,
Yeah.
that's one of those things, like, you don't want to scare people and saying, oh, Sting's never wrestling again, or, well, he's not going to do that retirement speech anymore, so let's just, you know, act like everything's fine, he's selling injuries, and he's just not there. But, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to be
Yeah.
wrong, and they don't want to worry people, and they want to make sure that they have the correct information about his health.
Yeah, because I'm sure they've gotten a lot of people that are on the Sting bandwagon if they weren't before. I mean, I never thought that we would hear "We Want Sting" chants in WWE, and we got those. I mean, so I think WWE certainly knows that they have something in Sting there if, you know, they want to press that button again and let him go. Just, you know.
Mm-hmm. Very true. So, well, is that all you wanted to bring, Chris? Anything else? I don't want to cut you off if you have anything else you want to say.
No, that was it. And when on Raw, when Big Show beat Cesaro, I smiled because I was like, of course. And I can picture Vince in the background screaming, "Yes, we did it!" high-fiving Big Show as he comes back from the gorilla, and then goes to Cesaro like, "This is why you can't get over your Swiss, damn it!" And then walks away to the Vince truck.
We're just gonna have you win on SmackDown, so it seems like it mattered, but it didn't.
The only thing that would make that better, Chris, if Vince was drinking Swiss Miss Cocoa as he said that.
Oh, you know what? He probably is, or something.
Sucking on some Ricolas or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like eating some Toblerones. Like, it's just...
Yeah. Well, you know how much he likes the Rock strudel, so.
Oh, dear.
Man. You always gotta take it to the strudel, Gary.
Yeah. So. Man, it's been awesome that you called in, Chris. We appreciate you doing it, man. And you know, if you want to plug your show, you can go ahead and plug. You know.
Yes, check out Nerd AF Podcast on Twitter and Facebook. We got a show coming up here for the next week, and yeah, so I will catch you guys down the road.
Sounds great, Chris. Thanks for calling, man.
No problem.
All right, that is Chris Limsky, everybody, the fourth co-host of this show. Glad to hear from him. But now, man, it is time for us to jump into some Monday Night Raw. Let's do it, guys.
Oh, you would have to catch me when I'm pushing a button on Twitter. No, okay.
Click.
Here we go.
WWE Monday Night Raw.
Sometimes I wish I could make those little inserts longer so I can do something while that like 11-second thing plays. Too many things to have to do while I'm doing this show. Where do we begin with this show? I'll admit that there are parts of the show I did not watch because, man, we got way too much going on right now, Gary. It just with podcasting and all that. Like, I had my one day off on Wednesday, and I was like, oh, I don't want to watch wrestling.
Because you watched a ton of it. Me and Paul missed the New Japan's, so you did watch it.
Yeah. So somehow we start with the Wyatts at the beginning of Raw, which I guess is better than starting with Seth Rollins. And we get this whole thing here with Wyatt and Reigns and Ambrose and all that going on. I have to say this was at least good. I think Reigns is certainly improving in the promo department, and whenever he gets to just go and be badass, Roman Reigns, certainly much better than saying nursery rhymes or whatever. Strowman, of course, getting to look strong in here again. But what did you guys think of your opening segment, which also involves, Kane, or them talking about Kane coming back and all this, which eventually leads to a backstage segment with Seth Rollins and Kane and whatnot. So,
I mean, I was immediately intrigued just because it wasn't Seth Rollins or The Authority. Not to say that I have a problem with Seth Rollins, but it's nice to keep it fresh every once in a while. I think it is very good back and forth. I think it was well structured, and it was good.
And we already talked about Orton being the possible guy, but when you're watching on Raw, how did you feel about Orton being inserted into this? Obviously, he makes sense since he got beat up by the Wyatts, but I know we wanted somebody else to be the savior man.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, I think, from WWE's point of view. Orton is established. He's a big star who's also not doing anything. We'll shove him here.
Yeah, pretty much, right. It's okay. I don't have a problem with Orton being a part of it. To me, I'm hoping this is more about making the Wyatts strong, look strong, and, of course, building Reigns as well. And I think this is really doing both of them a favor to an extent, because I think Reigns is learning a lot. I think this is building him up too, because he does look so good against Bray Wyatt by himself. So you've got a lot there that's going for Reigns, and I think Bray Wyatt's had an opportunity to kind of rebuild some of the credibility, especially with Strowman being a part of his group. It definitely helps both of them. So, and to go back to what Paul said earlier, this is a nice breath of fresh air, not to have the Authority or just Rollins coming out there and blabbing on and on. This is something else that we can kind of grab our hands and say, okay, yeah, I'm down. Let's do this, because otherwise when Raw starts, I'm kind of like, can I fast forward this? Because I already know what they're saying without having to hear it.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because and something that we pretty much know because we saw it at Night of Champions. We get to see the rematch here on Raw as our first match. Cody Rhodes in the Ascension against Neville and the Lucha Dragon. Oh, you know what? We forgot, Gary. That's why I kept saying I know I'm forgetting something before we start Raw. Paul needs to tell us about what he thought about Night of Champions.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, thank you, Sean.
Seth Rollins is a freaking workhorse, and he's amazing at it. And if they ever want to do another double title offense with him again, or have him work 2 matches on another show, I won't be disappointed. Because he totally tore the house down with Cena, and then him and Sting put on something I thought Sting wouldn't be capable of doing. And even though Sting damn near died, from the looks of how they reacted after that turnbuckle powerbomb, I don't have enough great things to say about Sting or Seth Rollins, or even Cena for that matter. I think Charlotte and Nikki Bella was a good match. I don't know if it was that Divas Revolution defining match I was looking for, But Charlotte getting the big win there was still cool. Dudley's New Day, wonderful. Just a fun little 10-minute thing. Dolph Ziggler and Rusev has just left me shaking my head. Like the shoe thing might be the silliest finish in wrestling I've ever seen in my life. Just hands down. Kevin Owens winning the IC title was cool. That went down exactly how I thought it should have. And there's nothing like being right. And the Wyatt family getting a win. You can't go wrong with that. And that leads me directly into this with them doing 50-50 booking with the Cosmic Wasteland and Neville and the Lucha Dragons, which has left me very meh. So,
Gary. Oh man.
Gary!
Oh, Gary. You know what? Gary probably went to go do something. Or
That's fair.
That's fine.
What'd you think about this the 6-man there?
It was, it was a 6-man. It was good, but it's just the whole this thing is continuing, and
Yeah.
I don't know about this thing continuing.
I'm right here. What were you asking? I'm sorry. I had to step
about
away.
This Neville and about the 6-man.
Yeah, I mean, the 6-man was okay. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, I was just glad to see that, the Ascension didn't look terrible. But, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it. The whole... it was just a rematch. It was nothing special to me. If we're talking about Raw here,
Yeah, I mean, it's 50-50 booking at its finest, too, which is the very depressing part here, because... It looked like, all right, Stardust and the Ascension get the win. Okay, let's arm with them for a little bit, and then we cut that away real fast, didn't we? WWE, thank you for that.
Yeah. So it's so hard to get invested in that stuff because it is so 50-50 booking, and you're just like, it's kind of like New Japan. I love New Japan, but the problem with it is when they do those big, 8-man tags, you're just kind of like, do I have to care?
Oh, they had a 10-man tag on this show. I was like. Well,
it just kills you.
Fun, but they mean absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all. I mean, there's nothing to grab onto. But, whatever.
Right. So, speaking of, things, Ryback certainly grabbed onto Bo Dallas and beat him down in this match here. Not only that, but, you had Bo Dallas also mock Ryback before, telling him that, he didn't believe, he believed that Kevin Owens was better, and that Ryback will never be better than Kevin Owens. So believe him on that. Too much believing going on in one thing. It's very, very whatever. But at least we get some more Kevin Owens and Ryback stuff. I'm totally cool with this storyline continuing because it's made for Kevin Owens and it's made for Ryback. Chase around the dick heel and hope that people latch on to you continuously, Ryback. So
they didn't like that those two words together in a way.
Man, the best thing about this whole Ryback and Kevin Owens thing is that the Bo Dallas character fits right in here, where you can just have him mock Ryback for losing, and then Ryback quickly puts him in his place, and we're back to fighting the odds again, which is exactly what I think they want out of this feud. So,
yeah, exactly, and it's just fun to see Bo Dallas back on TV. I mean, it's just fun to see him get squashed too, I guess you'd say, but I always enjoy seeing him.
Yeah, certainly. That's something always. I mean, it's better than having a Sheamus and Mark Henry match, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh.
Right. I mean, at least certainly Sheamus, even though he wins, beating Mark Henry, he must be delusional because he thinks he is the world heavyweight champion after I guess not fulfilling his contract stipulation or whatever because Kane came out. Here's where we get this whole thing with the Authority and Kane. what did you guys think of all this? Certainly it's, them trying to allude that they're helping out Rollins, but sort of not really.
I sort of not really is perfect. Like they're doing their best to try and not make this look obvious, but it's sort of not really obvious. If you catch my drift there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll let's be honest, and I'll just be honest with everyone. Most anything Sheamus is involved in right now, even if it is the World Championship picture, my interest is so very low. I don't know. I'm just not into it right now. I don't. Maybe I'm being too harsh, too hard, but I mean, I just think it's silly. I really do.
Yeah. You know what else was silly?
So.
Cesaro losing to Big Show. That was certainly a silly thing to do. They had a nice match there, but I guess because Big Show is wrestling Brock Lesnar at the Madison Square Garden show, they've got to make him look strong, as he has a message for Brock Lesnar. Apparently, he wants to sit there and go to Suplex City, but certainly it is going to be a task for Brock to be suplexing Big Show around, but it's going to happen because it's going to be a feat of greatness that, Vince is going to go gaga over.
I mean, I'll go gaga over it. I mean, that's still a very large man he's going to be tossing around that ring.
Yeah. I'm excited about seeing that. That's great and dandy. And I love Cesaro to death. And by me saying this, it does no respect to Cesaro. I just think that this does more of a disservice to Cesaro than help Big Show, really. I think if you're talking a bigger guy, a guy that maybe, or two guys, maybe he has a handicap match and he just blows away two talented guys, I'm okay with it. I don't know why. What's up with Cesaro? Why you got to be all over him, man? I just think it's messed up.
They need to find a way to get that U.S. title on him quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yes. Something needs to go his way. I mean, he's already grabbed that brass ring like 6 times, and yeah, nothing's
Is it? I mean, they don't know how to spotlight people who don't have a big gold belt around them.
Mm-hmm.
And if they want to capitalize on Cesaro, that's the way you make them do it. Whether that'll happen or not, I have no clue. But yeah,
but think about that. That's a great idea. And not only that, with John Cena doing the open challenges, I'm sure sooner than later, that'd be a great opportunity there, and to have a great match. I mean, I'm just imagining that would be a wonderful match between him and Cesaro. Cena. So.
Right. I mean, we did have 2 nice, wonderful matches on the show. The New Day and Rusev going against the Dudley Boyz and Dolph Ziggler.
Highlight.
That was a lot of fun. And you also had the U.S. title rematch there with Seth Rollins and John Cena. Which one did you like more?
The U.S. title rematch was a really, really great match, and it made all the more impressive, I think, in the aftermath of the effort that they gave at Night of Champions, which was just an amazing match that you guys should go watch if you haven't seen Night of Champions yet. But you can't ever leave the New Day out. They make you watch. They make you want to watch Raw, and there are very few acts, I think, who can claim that right now.
Oh, I totally agree. I mean, look at this. To me, I just kind of slipped it in there when Sean was talking. Highlight for me. Yeah, sure, the U.S. bout was great. Okay, you should expect that with guys with their talent. So let's put that aside. But let's look at the most entertaining thing of the night. Definitely the New Day. And the trombone kind of adds to this whole thing with Xavier Woods, the comedy. Just everything that they bring to the table just makes you want to watch this show. Week in and week out, they come out with a new entrance. So it's the same music, but you got Big E kind of making a phrase. Every time, New Hampshire, you'll want to do this, blah blah blah, or Pennsylvania, wherever he says he's at. But my point being is it's an exciting way to get people interested in the show because it's a new entrance. They do something new every time they're there. They're not old hat ever. So that's what I love about the New Day. And not only that, just to me, they've got great ability and they bring a lot to the show. So to me, that was my biggest highlight.
Yeah. I mean, I'd agree with you there, but certainly other people would say that the bigger talking point from this show is the Divas. Not only did you have Ric Flair come out and say that Charlotte winning the title was the biggest night of his life or whatever, saying, hey, all due respect to the Shawn Michaels match and me winning world titles, whatever, but watching my daughter win was a great thing. But the bigger thing to come out of this is not necessarily that Charlotte won and got to have her celebration or whatever, is that Paige sort of cut a Paige pipe bomb. I hate the word pipe bomb now, but it's just like a sort of Paige pipe bomb. She goes off on Becky telling her to shut up and that she's the least relevant of them, so she won't ever win the title. And the team battle all flash and no substance. You get her basically dissing Lana and Summer and also dissing Natty and saying, hey, we all know why the Bellas are at the top. And, basically shoving it in Charlotte's face that she has the title because, she's Ric Flair's daughter. And, of course, then the Bellas come out and ruin it like they always do instead of just letting that kind of sit for a little bit. And you get Charlotte versus Brie. Charlotte wins. It's something. And you also get Natalya finally getting involved in this, thank God. Because that really needed to happen with Naomi, but Sasha kind of ruins it for Natalya. What did you think of all the Diva stuff on this show?
I want to go first on this because I want Paul to shoot my thought process down or whatever he wants to do because I'm really curious what he has to say and, of course, what Sean has to say on this. So I'm going to go first. My thoughts on this was I think this whole thing with Paige happened too fast. I think it needed more build. I wanted more dissension. I just think for her just all of a sudden blow up out of nowhere. Yeah, okay, it matches her personality in real life. Maybe that's what it is because we all know she's a firecracker. She's one way, then all of a sudden the next thing is, she blows up. Okay, that's great. But when I'm talking about storyline-wise, I want to build it. I want to see some dissension or maybe some awkward looks. And maybe I've missed it. Maybe I'm the one who missed the boat. Maybe Paul will point out a few episodes that I didn't pay attention to close enough. But to me, this was so quick. It was almost kind of like, where is this coming from? And why is, she just wrecking this whole thing? It wasn't bad promo. I enjoyed it for what it's worth, but to me, I think it was too fast. The match themselves, they worked out the way they should have worked out for both Natalya and both for Charlotte, so that's okay with me. I just think the Paige thing happened way too fast.
I think you're onto something there. The most interesting, I think the episode of Raw before we got to Night of Champions, you could sort of see Paige looking a bit disinterested in what Charlotte and Becky were doing. That's fine and whatnot, and you get some some more disinterested looks after Charlotte wins the championship at Night of Champions. But for her to very suddenly come out and do this, it feels like they're trying to hit the fast forward on Divas Revolution idea. And I won't say that this promo isn't something that the Divas Revolution didn't need, because it did. It keeps it interesting. It keeps you wanting to see what's going to happen with Paige. But there's no substance behind it to lend credence to why she's so mad. And it's if it's just jealousy, then you can show that. Hopefully they'll show that over the coming weeks of Charlotte has this pedigree and she has this look and she has all these things in her favor that Paige doesn't have, and you can build that anti-diva character again. Because now you have to start spinning these girls out in individual roles. And hopefully with them bringing in Natty is more of trying to bring in another experienced hand than trying to have Natty fit into the X spot that Paige is going to leave in the PCB team. Because that's not what we need. We need to get these teams sort of breaking apart now.
It seemed like Charlotte was almost leading to that in a little bit of the promo where she was sort of saying it's been great to team with you guys, but I want to be where Paige was. You know, I respect that all of you are my friends, whatever, but this is about me right now. Like, you know, just, I feel like we're getting there, but again, this is a fast forward. And I'm all for, okay, it's the night after Night of Champions, let's hit them in the mouth, let's shock them. And, you know, here's my thing. I think that this is all done because they need things that are things you can flash in someone's face and say, look what happened there, watch this next Monday. Like, the ratings are getting to the point where they need stuff that holds your attention. Okay, this has got my attention, I'm watching next week. Sucks. In a wonderful world where it doesn't matter, and you don't need to be holding your end of the bargain when it comes to television ratings and viewers and all that kind of stuff, especially with all your competition that you have now, because not only Monday Night Football, all the regular shows are back. So now you've got all this crap in front of you that's fighting against you. So I think if we take out all the reality of it, yeah, this is way too fast. And this should have been built up. And maybe you pull the trigger at Hell in the Cell, and then the next Raw, that's when you have her cut this promo. That's when you start doing all this stuff. And that's when you include other people and do all that, whatever. But again, I think it's the times that we're in, the desperation that WWE feels like they're in with Raw, and then they wanted to pull the trigger, and that's fine. I don't care as long as this goes somewhere. Not in a month it's over and we're back to everybody's just status quo, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know. And I actually don't mind necessarily that Team Bad kind of stays together if, you know, they're going to have this evolve. Just like Paul said, if we're just going to have Natty replace Paige's spot, or we're going to have, it's going to be Natty and Becky, and we're going to throw somebody else in there now, because Charlotte and Paige are kind of doing their own thing. I just, you know, it's whatever to me. I mean, I just hope, I know that this all has to lead to something, and I just hope it's something good that means that we're really evolving into having storylines for the women, because my biggest thing is, except for that one period where you had the title and then you had the Paige and AJ stuff kind of happening, sort of, they've never been able to have two storylines going on at once. That's what I want to see. Can you have two storylines for the women that both mean something and can both equally take time up on your show, and they're both interesting? Because that's where you're going to have to evolve eventually. The women are going to have to be just like what you get on NXT, where sometimes you get two women's matches, and it's not because you just want to throw them out there. It's because eventually they're going to mean something, and that's what you can't just have. I just don't want to keep seeing two women's matches. One of them leads the story, the other one's just there. Mm-hmm. You know? And Lana and Summer's cool and whatever, but that's just a throwaway thing, really. You know, that they don't know what really to do with Dolph and Rusev, so they got them in this thing that never ends. And if it winds up in a cool Rusev face turn or whatever. But just, you know, the meat of what's going on with the women is in this Revolution thing, and they've got to just put it in the right direction, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, just really quickly, the whole Charlotte thing. This to me doesn't do her any favors either, because it's all about her crying, her upset, her. It'd be okay without her dad there. To me, it just kind of makes it like she's emotionally unstable because, you know, her dad's got to be right there. All this, I just think that's one of those times. Flair's not going to be there every week. Yeah,
he happened to be there because you're talking about the night after she won, and
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's possible that they could. I mean, it's not like Flair's doing anything else, but I do worry about that too. That Flair's all of a sudden going to be showing up all the time and whatever.
Yeah, I get you.
She needs to be able to handle her own.
Mm-hmm.
I know, Paul, I know I talked a lot. I'm sorry. Did you want to say something before we move on to the last thing here?
No, man, I think we all got our piece across, I feel.
Yeah, so I'm going to bring in, because I told him he could only have one thing to talk about here, because we can't have people on to talk about Raw forever. So, Brandon, I know you wanted to have your little piece on the Kane dual personality thing.
Yeah,
What was your thing about it?
I just definitely like this whole new storyline that they're going with Kane basically having this split personality, and he doesn't, at least it seems, or I don't know if he's acting that he doesn't know that he's doing it, or he's actually having, basically split personality disorder type situation here. But it's definitely a very intriguing storyline, and I'm very intrigued to see what they do with it. Also, I like them doing kind of an homage, but at the same time doing it in his own way, to Undertaker against Edge in Hell in a Cell back in 2008, with him dragging Rollins into underneath the ring. I was waiting for the flames to come up out of the ring, but it was just smoke. But it was still a cool moment. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what happens with this whole thing with Kane.
You guys have an opinion on this?
I'm not willing to jump on board to say that I like this. I am willing to jump on board and say that I am interested. It's something that Kane hasn't done yet, and that's pretty hard to say because he's pretty much been through the ringer as far as crazy stories go. So it
does kind of fit his personality, especially now with the whole. They've kind of been pushing towards this to begin with how the mask had this whole element to it where he was a completely different person with the mask on, and they were keeping it in under lock and key in that glass case and everything. So they were kind of hinting towards this from the get-go with his whole corporate Kane thing.
I don't know about hinting towards this, but it certainly makes him look smart, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
This whole thing for me personally, I think it's okay, but my problem with it is I really wish that they wouldn't hint towards Kane knowing anything. I just really wish it was just cut and dry, black and white. Kane legitimately doesn't know a thing about this, legitimately doesn't use stronger vocals when he's talking about, Seth Rollins and the world title. I just wish that he was just oblivious to it completely. But that's just me. I think it would matter more to me personally.
I'll agree with you there, Gary, that, him kind of hinting at it that, you have some enemies that you may not know about was kind of, okay, you're kind of, showing that he knows what he's doing and that it's not completely split personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's also Kane, and, he is the Demon Kane and all that stuff, so if he can make everybody feel like he can screw with your mind, wouldn't that sort of be his MO?
That's
what
true.
Sort of the devil's said to be doing with you. So.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a little bit too deep or whatever, but just saying.
That's definitely a possibility, which is a cool possibility. Either way they do it, it works in my opinion.
Agree with you there. I'm interested too. I'm not going to say I'm totally sold on it, but it's pretty interesting for me.
It's something to keep us interested because, right now, other than seeing when Sheamus is going to cash in, what else do we really have to keep us interested in the whole World Heavyweight title? Sting, it would have been cool to see him win it, but other than him winning it and finally getting the WWE title, which he's never had. You know, if you knew he was going to lose, then you don't care about that whole thing. With this, even if Kane does lose it and Seth Rollins is able to fight through it, it's still a very interesting and very fun storyline to watch and to see, okay, what is Kane going to do to mess with Seth's mind next?
Right. Well, we're pretty much ending Raw here, Brandon.
Okay.
You want to just do a quick little, like, what you thought of the show, just in a rating, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, this was a pretty good show. I'll give it a 7 overall. I mean, there wasn't, other than the whole Kane thing and, you know, the backstage stuff, there wasn't all that much. The one thing I will say that I also liked a lot, that was a lot of fun to see, and it'll be interesting to see how she goes from now, and we've seen some memes related to it already, is Paige's basically putting a pipe bomb down on the Divas division, basically saying, you do realize that the Bellas are still, you know, the it factor, no matter what the authority and everyone, all of the smarks say about the whole Divas Revolution. The Bellas are still, you know, the main attraction because of Total Divas and all of that. You know, she basically put a pipe bomb down and, like, was breaking the fourth wall there, and that was very fun to see. And I'm going to be very interested to see where they go with that from here.
Sure. We just kind of done talking about that, so we had our thoughts on it. But all right, Brandon.
Okay.
Thank you for being part of the show again. And
yeah. And I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right.
See ya.
That is Brandon Bisco being. Glad to have him back.
All right. So I guess we should do our little rating here so we can be done with the Raw segment.
I'm gonna go 6.5. There's some entertaining stuff on this show. I don't know if it was the best 3 hours, but that 1.5 though, straight up New Day.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 7 for the wrestling that was on the show. Some good wrestling. Not that everything was totally on point, but a lot of the stuff they did was pretty interesting, forward looking. So.
For me personally, 6.5 works. I think that they did a few things here that were really, kept things going, but there were also some things here that we were all kind of like, and scratching our heads at. So it's about 50-50. That's about around 6.5. I like it. Well, guys, we have to jump on over to NXT, but before we do, I just want to remind everybody we are going to cover a few other things in here. We are also going to talk about Ring of Honor and All-Star Extravaganza. We're going to give you a quick rundown of what happened there, and of course cover the show that followed it. Plus, don't forget, we are also going to talk about New Japan and their the next show coming up, Destruction Kobe. We are going to preview that for you guys, as well as we are going to jump into some TNA. So those are some things we'll be following, but right now it is time to get into some NXT.
WWE Developmental NXT.
All right. Let's get into some NXT for this week as I sit here and go through this Google document that has way too much stuff in it. And I'm sitting here trying to find where I put the NXT. That we do so many shows that sometimes I lose myself and where I'm supposed to be. So, all right. So we started this show off with Carmella and Eva Marie, which is a rematch from the pre-takeover show. We did get they made the whole thing with Eva forgetting to kick out into a storyline where the referee purposely did not count the 3, and they do it again in this match. So, I guess that's a thing with Eva Marie matches now, where the referee is going to help her out and be partial to her. She also kind of made this little reference, sort of like she was thanking the referee in a sort of backhanded way in a little inset promo there. So, towing that line there, NXT. Carmella and her moonwalk try the best they can, but she loses out. And I thought that Eva Marie looked a bit better. There was that moment where she forgot that she had to face the camera when she's doing the pin, that's okay. I mean, that just comes with learning your surroundings and all that stuff. But it wasn't anywhere near as bad as the one at TakeOver.
This. I mean, I still wouldn't have minded this being a minute shorter, to be honest with you, but not a lot to write home about here. I'll give you this. It was better than their TakeOver effort. And props to the guy who writes the NXT report for 411, as he's now dubbed Eva, I'll botch everything. God bless him.
Smart man. Kevin Pantoja. So,
yes.
So, I mean, Eva Marie's still doing the whole motioning for the title thing, but this was obviously taped when she, thought she was getting a title shot, so let's see.
Yeah. It's just proof, once again, why they made that decision, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously WWE wants her to be something. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, she's still, JoJo no longer has the role in Total Divas. She's still the only one. I guess now Amanda can. But Amanda actually was part of Tough Enough to learn how to wrestle first. So Eva Marie's still the only person that's on that show that started as, I'm solely here to be on this show. And that's all I'm doing. And then, it transitioned to other things because she got popular and whatever. But, it is what it is, I guess. It's just, I don't blame WWE. She's obviously very beautiful, and they want her to be something. And so, they wanted her to train. She trained, to her credit. It's just, it's not paying off right now, and that's going to happen. Just hopefully she gets better and not worse. That's always the good thing. If she can get better, then all the stuff we're saying right now won't matter.
Exactly.
So we get Bull Dempsey and Tyler Breeze match. This was pretty good. We get Bull Dempsey using his belly as a weapon, making Kamala proud, I guess. And I love the fact that on commentary they just, this is bullfit. No, they're making this so much more fun by kind of just going into the gimmick and all that stuff. And so does the crowd. The crowd has fun with it. So, I'm sure there could have been better moments, but I had a lot of fun watching it.
I think that fits this match very well. It's fun. The NXT crowd at Full Sail definitely helps keep you into this because they're loving every second of it. I'm still in love with Bullfit. I'm still in love with Tyler Breeze. This is just, extra fun sauce on top of the delicious sundae that is NXT right now.
I like that. I like both these guys. Bull is just, an interesting guy. He's a lot of fun. And of course, I love the vignettes they had for him. That was a lot of fun. I love the 80s, so I love those. But, Tyler Breeze, once again, I think he's great in what he does. I'll say this. This is just the one knock I've got. It just seems like they are putting him in a place that I don't know where he's going to win from this place. And, he's lost to, a legend. He's lost to different guys that are not quite legends, maybe close. And then he's having matches with Bull who, is taking him to the limit. I just don't know. It doesn't seem like he has a whole lot of momentum going out of this. That worries me.
What do you mean, Bull?
No, I'm talking about Tyler Breeze.
Well,
I'm
Tyler
sorry.
Breeze he seems very directionless. Like he's just the heel that they put with anyone, so they can go. That face can have a win, and it's a bit weird. Like it's just okay. Well, all of a sudden now we find out that Apollo Crews' next match with Tyler Breeze at the Takeover, and that's cool. I mean, I'm sure it'll be a good match and everything, but it's just like, how many times is Tyler Breeze just gonna lose to some face? Like, is he ever going to go anywhere? Are we doing this because he's about to become... He has been on the main roster with tours. Apparently Triple H really wants to get him up there, so maybe Triple H feels like, okay, it doesn't matter at this point because he's going to be on the main roster soon, but I don't know. I just feel like he really could have been like this big-time heel that... I mean, I know the fans are very split on him or whatever, but it's just... You know, I feel like they're missing the boat here a little bit.
Me too, and I think that's my point in general. And just like later on, we get him, you know, being kind of not completely, but a little bit punked out by Apollo, and I think that kind of weakens that heel.
That's fine though. That's fine. Yeah. He's not in your face. I'm gonna do this to you heel. He's a
well, kinda, but in the past, he's gotten people's face and said, you know, I'm gorgeous, you're not, those kind of things.
But
and
Rollins does that too. There's times where Rollins gets in your face and whatever. It's different shades of what that is.
Yeah, I guess so.
What show you're on.
Yeah.
I think for Breeze, I wouldn't shortchange the thing he's got going with Regal right now. It's sort of kept in the background, but it is a forefront idea that I think you should keep in mind. I mean, I don't know if it'll end like with what I think Harry was saying last time we had him on, talking about a match with Regal or anything like that. But like, if he would have got like the loss against Liger, I think sets him back some. Even though it is Jushin, you know, Thunder Liger, you know, just like this giant legend. Having Tyler get that win and constantly proving himself against these big obstacles that Regal is putting him up against, which eventually might pay off in a title match with Finn, I think would have been a really fun story.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, the story was apparently Jushin didn't care about losing, but they told him, hey, you're Liger, you're going to have to win, you know.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, you don't know if that's going to be Liger's last appearance or not.
Right. So... It's possible that, I mean, he did allude to, like, that he wasn't done with them, and then all of a sudden they scrapped it, so, I don't know. Maybe when they found out that he wasn't going to show up for that Madison Square Garden show, they kind of scrapped the thing, but we shall see if it shows up later down the road or not. I mean, we're talking about something that's happened later on down the road. We will certainly see Asuka have matches later down the road, but this was her contract signing. Happening here on NXT as William Regal introduces her. He introduces her as Kana. They have her have a little video, or not a video, but they have the, you know, Titantron say her name, and then it changes to Asuka as she's looking at it, which is really cool. And I love the fact that even though it was broken English, she certainly spoke it better than Hideo Itami when he came, and it was just one of those like moments like where you just like, I don't know, to me when I watched it, I was just like, aw, it's somebody, you know, getting to kind of like live a dream and have her moment and all that stuff. And it's like, and it was great to, obviously you get her right in the fire with Dana and Emma coming out and belittling her and stuff, but she gives you that, you know, the crazy look that if you've watched her matches she'll give, that's like very befitting of the Asuka's gonna kill you chant that comes out of there. So I like this whole thing. It's totally in with Dana and Emma's characters, and you get a little bit of a, alright, we didn't want to see this happen, but you know they're gonna get it when it comes time.
I agree with you. I felt like this felt like a big sort of movement change with Kana coming over, or now Asuka, as we're going to call her. We haven't had mainstay Japanese women talent in the WWE since the days of the Jumping Bomb Angels way back in the 80s. And I'm dating myself there, but that's a thing. We've also, you know, there's been brief dalliances whenever Lunder Blaze was running around with the women's title with
Nakano.
Bull Nakano and Kong. Not awesome, but yes, Aja Kong. Thank you. So I mean, there's been brief downloads, but nothing mainstay. So this is a really big deal, and I think as much as a lot of success depends on Hideo Itami for maybe the future of Japanese talent in the WWE, I think maybe there's just as much riding on Asuka now too. So this is a big deal. This is a really big deal, and I think they do a good job of making that come across.
Mm-hmm. I have a question too, because you guys make the points that I could make too. But the one thing that I have is after we see Emma and of course Brooke come down and just basically bully Asuka around, or Asuka, whatever we call her. She basically just leaves, and she looks at him, but she just leaves. Now, is this supposed to build anticipation for us to see what she can do later? To me, it was almost like, if you don't know anything about this lady, you kind of think, is she cowardly or something? Because she was all excited about being in the ring, then she gets kind of scared and walks off.
But she reaches the top of the ramp and turns around and sort of gives him this like disarming smile, and then walks off. And Dana and Emma just sort of look at each other like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that smile means I'm going to kill you later, or if it means I'm happy you made me leave because I would have killed you now. It's the fun conversation to have.
So what I think would have been better is if they should have done that, and towards the end of the show, like you see someone knock on the door of the dressing room, and then Dana opens the door and looks on the ground, and it's a gift from Asuka, and it's a film with Audition. It's a horror film, everybody. Japanese, very terrifying.
Yeah, I understand that. I think the point could have been, you could do that. Certainly, I think having her open the door and just having her mask be there or something could have been done that way. But it's just.
Or the door opens and she just kicks her in the face.
Yeah, that too. That too. I think they wanted to go a different way than we saw this with Itami, and I think he kind of battled back and whatever. I think that smile told you everything you needed to know. If you know this is what they're trying to get you. If you know who she is and whatever, and then you're gonna understand that smile means something. And that's what they're. You don't want to give it all away at once. I think it builds anticipation. You certainly now want to see Asuka beat up the Mean Girls, which is basically what they are. So, that's totally in the Divas wheelhouse kind of thing. Moving on though, from this, we do get Kyle Edwards again filling us in on what's been going on with the Tag Team Classic, which happened in Texas. Chris Lemche was at the Austin show, so there was a heck of a lot of fun, and he told us on Sunday that Samoa Joe looked definitely very motivated. That's exactly what I saw when I was at the Miami show. So, it's this has been a fun thing. It sucks that we didn't get to any of the matches, but they certainly give us a big match to watch for next week, which is Enzo and Cass against Finn Balor and Samoa Joe. So that will be some big anticipation on my part. I'm sure on y'all's part too. The promos that they got to cut too are pretty fun. Like I quite enjoy that on NXT they have the understanding that you as a talent looking into the camera means something.
Mm-hmm.
You can certainly tell that on Raw and all that, they certainly don't want them to ever look in the camera, and they try to do that a little bit. They kind of do it a little bit here, and then they have them look in the camera, they have them looking away, and whatever, but you feel something different when somebody looks in the camera and tells you something. And I don't know where Vince got the idea that doesn't mean anything, but it certainly does to me. I mean, like, you could tell when was it on Night of Champions? Like Flair was like dying that he couldn't look in the camera. It's just like, why would you take that away from people? I just don't get that. I don't know where that idea came from.
It's just the idea of trying to present it more like a television show instead of a wrestling program. Because now if you don't have them looking in, it creates a more drama, sitcom-y stuff you watch on ABC, NBC, CBS, what have you, weekly. If you have them look in the camera and break that fourth wall like they're talking to you, it certainly puts you in the feel of a wrestling show, which we know WWE does not want on your main roster. Here in NXT, though, it is a wrestling show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I just love the fact that, Enzo and Cass are certainly not anywhere in the league of Finn and Joe, but they certainly had no problem telling them that they don't care. We're going to come beat you up. And then Joe, of course, doing his thing that he is very good at doing. So I love the subtle things with Joe. Like he always tells him, "Oh, champ," and he hits him. Like Finn must be like, "Man, stop hitting me every time you gotta encourage me or whatever." But we did have an NXT title match going, and Jordan and Gable were just awesome. Can I just say that even in their little interactions on camera, they're great. Mm-hmm. I can have so many little promos of Gable just getting to do his catchphrase that will make me smile every time. But we get an NXT title match here. Blue Pants shows up once again, this time unannounced, so you get the bigger crowd reaction here. I thought again that these guys had a pretty good match here. The crowd obviously wasn't as hugely involved as the one in Brooklyn because, much smaller crowd or whatever, but I thought for what it was pretty entertaining 9-10 minutes here.
I'll give you entertaining. It just the ring work wasn't as good as what we got in Brooklyn. And it's not like it needed to be. This is an NXT taping. It's not the big deal, big time. Holy crap, we're in an arena full of 16,000 people as opposed to a couple hundred or, maybe 1,000. It's still, you're right, it was still a good time. The pop for Blue Pants was ridiculous. The fun that you get to have between all the different pieces moving around the ring during this is what I think makes this whole situation work well. Not only are the Vaudevillains of Blake and Murphy two really good tag teams, but Blue Pants and Alexa Bliss certainly add their fair share here and there.
It was just a fun match to watch. It really was, and you got everything you expected to get out of it. Honestly, I mean, what else can you say?
Right. Well, that's pretty much ends NXT. At least they had some decent wrestling on the show.
I'm looking forward to Enzo and Big Cass's fat jokes at Samoa Joe's expense.
Yeah. This will be fun. For sure, so. All right, guys. Well, we are going to go ahead and roll on over to another promotion, which is called the Ring of Honor. And we are going to first jump into some All-Star Extravaganza and kind of break that down. Paul is going to lead us on that journey and kind of tell you, kind of give you his thoughts on that show. And then we're going to give you the regular episode of ROH that follows that show. So let's jump into Ring of Honor.
I forgot I pressed the unmute button. I forgot to press the stop button on the other.
Go ahead, Paul.
Woo! All right, All-Star Extravaganza. The main headline going into this, Jay Lethal's defending both his belts. They open the show with him defending the World Television title against Bobby Fish. Pretty entertaining 14 minutes. The ending sequence works really well. Fish spends the whole match pretty much trying to get a hold of Lethal's leg and puts him in various submissions, which Lethal, flails to get away from. And in the end, whenever Bobby Fish goes to get in one of those, Lethal ends up rolling him up and pulling the tights to retain the title in just the most dickish way possible. Because the San Antonio crowd was pissed.
You gotta love it. You really do. And this is, to me, it's the perfect formula for this kind of match because really, I mean, for me personally, Bobby Fish is great and all, but I just really felt like Lethal was going to win it. And I'm glad he didn't really win it clean. This sells me more on it than him just go out there and cleanly beating Fish. So I enjoyed this.
Yeah, absolutely wonderful opening match, and it continues on. Pro Wrestling's Last Romance. Silas Young takes on Dalton Castle. The boys are on the line, so if Dalton Castle loses, the boys become Silas Young. If Silas Young loses, he becomes one of the boys. This is a really, really fun match with a lot of great spots in it. They go back and forth a lot. There's a lot of trading. They both get in their usual moves. The boys end up having their fair share. Silas Young, however, ends up taking it with a low blow and connecting with Misery. And the look on Dalton Castle's face as Silas Young shoves the boys away from ringside is heartbreaking and hilarious all at the same time.
You know, this didn't come out to the way I wanted it to be. You know, I was really going for Dalton Castle on this one. I wanted to see Silas Young.
Going for Dalton Castle. That's what I want.
I agree. I could totally see. You know, there are some people that don't agree with a certain lifestyle, so I'm sure there were some people like Silas Young who didn't want to see that happen. But I mean, I was just really looking forward to seeing, you know, Silas Young basically washing a car in that garb. You know, I was excited about it, but no, it's not going to happen. Now I'm going to get to see these boys become grease monkeys. So, we'll see. But you know, it was a pretty entertaining match. I just at the end of it wasn't the way I wanted it.
I'm sure the boys are a tag team that ROH wants to do something with. So I think this move makes the most sense, although I am also saddened not seeing Silas Young trying to dress up in one of those peacock outfits that Dalton Castle wears to the ring.
So now ROH can have their own version of the mechanics, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, dear. Briscoes are out next. We're trying to figure out who they will be facing as they laid out an open challenge. The Decade comes out first. BJ Whitmer announces he's going to be doing color commentary. Adam Page shows up as well on commentary during the match, which we'll get to here in a second, and has some not so flattering words for Jay, which leads into some post-match shenanigans. But so the Decade comes out. They take their seats. Next out is the Romantic Touch, who makes out with a couple of chicks at ringside. He's rubbing himself with a rose, and he gets his ass handed to him by the Briscoes, which is hilarious. And then the returning All Night Express comes out. Rhett Titus, Kenny King. The crowd loses its mind. These guys, they've had a big blood feud with the Briscoes in the past, if you've never watched Ring of Honor before. So this is a pretty big deal. They go out there. They have a pretty good match. ANX gets the big win. With the One Night Stand, which is a powerbomb assisted by a neck breaker. It's really good. It leads up to some fun stuff. The Decade come in. They beat up the Briscoes, and ANX comes in to make the save, which leads to the handshake. It's a pretty fun affair, and worth it alone just to see the crowd react to the All Night Express coming back.
Yeah, I'm sure Kenny King was sitting there wondering, well, I never got this reaction in TNA.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. No, this is great though. You know, a nice surprise, and it's very welcome. So I mean, this really caps it off, and these are the things that make these pay-per-views fun to watch.
Absolutely. Hopefully, we get the tag division is shaping up nicely in Ring of Honor. So if you're into tag team wrestling, this is the promotion you need to be watching, because they got about 5 or 6 teams now that are worth your attention. And that's not even including the New Japan teams that they may or may not bring over at times. So, next up, no DQ, Cedric Alexander taking on Moose. This is surprisingly really, really good. I was expecting okay, and we get some pretty nut stuff. There's a Van Daminator from Cedric Alexander. The spear that Moose uses to put Cedric through the table is scary. He pretty much it's pretty much a football tackle into a table, because he lifts and they both go. It's nuts. You got to go watch it. Moose wins with that. Veda Scott gets her fair share. Stokely Hathaway also hits Cedric with the wrench to sort of get his fair share of revenge in there. And I loved this match, top to bottom. This was really, really good.
It's great to see, Moose get a big win here, but not only that, I mean, just the way the storytelling, making sure Cedric pays and everything that entails in this is great. It's one of the better highlights of the show.
Absolutely. There's another moment where Cedric's sitting on the table. Moose does that amazing standing drop kick, and Cedric doesn't even hit the apron. He just falls straight to the floor. It's very scary, and the splat is not one for the weak of heart. I'll tell you that much. We go from that hard-hitting affair to the match number 3 in the Best of 5 series between ACH and Matt Sydal. They really, really hype up the hometown advantage for ACH. They also do a fair bit of video work here showing the past 2 matches, which is helpful because it's been Sydal trying to work a ground game while ACH is trying to keep the flippies going. The match overall, I don't know if I dug as much as I think I would have. But they're trying to tell a story between all the different matches. Like, they're sort of learning from each other. So there's a lot of reversals. There's a lot of other stuff. It's not, I think, what you would expect. But I'm sure once we get to that last match, it's going to be balls to the walls, amazing. ACH does get the win here with the Midnight Star, though, which I was surprised because I figured Sydal would go up 2-1. But
it's like any other kind of match when they're continuation tournaments or anything in that mindset. It's going to be good or it's going to be so-so, but, don't expect finality. Don't expect, to get everything you want out of it. Just expect maybe a decent match, and that's kind of what you got here.
Absolutely. Yeah, and hopefully we'll get to see more of this on ROH TV. Like, this would make a great TV main event match number 4, so hopefully we'll see that somewhere down the road. And now we're getting into our main events. ROH World Tag Team titles on the line. The Addiction defends against the Kingdom and the Young Bucks. This is your standard multi-man tag match in ROH, which means lots of flippies, lots of crazy over-the-top things going down. The ending is pretty much the best thing in this. Despite all the moves, the Young Bucks are amazing in this. The crowd is crazy into the Young Bucks, too. That should be mentioned. We have somebody run in wearing a KRD mask, but instead of attacking the other guys, he attacks the Addiction with Saban's moves. It's really cool. Nobody knows who it is, obviously. The Kingdom end up winning out of this. It's the right move, in my opinion. The Kingdom are a hot team right now that have a bunch of heat on them. So,
yeah, and this is what's kind of fun too, because the fact that you got the Chris Sabin, look-alike or whatever, that's always an interesting wrench to throw into this whole thing. So I think that's a blast, and once again, something that ROH does well is to continue something, but kind of change things up a little bit compared to what other people do. So I enjoyed this,
as did I. So hopefully this creates a lot of drama, especially with what comes out of your actual main event. But before we get there, we have this absolutely ridiculously awesome, essentially fatal 4-way. It's a 4-way scramble here in ROH. AJ Styles, Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Michael Elgin, going at it for the number 1 contendership to the ROH World Title. This was incredible. The moves, the psychology, the back and forth, everything. It's so good. I don't have enough words to tell you how great it is. You just got to go watch it. Styles gets the win with Bloody Sunday into the Styles Clash on Adam Cole, and just go watch it.
Definitely. I mean, how could you go wrong with those names? Really, let's be honest. So, yeah, I'm right there with Paul. You don't have to talk about it. We could sit here for a long period of time and sit here and blab about it. But it was good. It's definitely worth your time. Go check it out. So,
absolutely. And now it's main event time. ROH World Title. Jay Lethal defends against Kyle O'Reilly. It's a pretty gosh darn good match with a whole bunch of shenanigans. We had the House of Truth shenanigans out of the way early, with Truth sticking his nose in. Nigel is, of course, at ringside doing commentary for the main event. And he tosses Truth out. There's a ref bump. Dijak comes out of nowhere. He ends up getting taken out eventually. just so much in this. I got to remember some stuff here. The Kingdom come down. They're beating up O'Reilly. They're doing all sorts of stuff here. And then Adam Cole ends up coming out and shows that he's aligned with the Kingdom and continues the beatdown on Kyle O'Reilly. Eventually, Lethal retains out of all this.
You know what? I mean, once again, Lethal gets the big blessing out of the fact that all the other things that go on. And, you know, I mean, I'm glad it does happen for him that way in a way because, you know, I think it's nice to see him continue on as, you know, dual champion. But, yeah, I mean, with Cole, I mean, that was totally different than what you expected, really. And because, you know, he was aiming one way and then now all of a sudden he's like totally the other. So I like these things. You know, I like everything that's going on with this because it just kind of blew your mind. At least me personally, it did.
Yeah. All right, just to clarify, there's the ref bump. Adam Cole comes out, acts like he's going to help O'Reilly, ends up super kicking him. Lethal gets the lethal injection, retains. And then that's when we get all the Kingdom shenanigans after that. So we're gonna you have the Kingdom set up not only against Red Dragon, but you also have the KRD, and then you have the Briscoes, All Night Express floating around. The tag division is getting a lot of attention here. Jay Lethal, of course, still coming out of this looking like $1 million with both belts. So a lot to look forward to if you're into Ring of Honor. This show, that's another Ring of Honor show, another big Ring of Honor show where there's not a bad match on the card. 3 stars and above if you're into snowflake ratings. I'd recommend this to anybody, especially if you're a Ring of Honor fan. There's a lot of good stuff to be had.
Yeah, and you know what? And I watched this show to an extent. I had to fast watch it, and that's why I'm letting Paul kind of talk about most of this. And from what I saw, it's definitely worth a rewatch. I just have not had the opportunity to rewatch it, so I'm definitely going to go back and rewatch this when I have more opportunities to do so. But Paul just told you, go watch it. It's a really good show to go check out. So, but yeah, I mean, I guess we have to talk about the TV show now.
Solid 8 if we're into numbers. But yes, yeah. TV show time.
There you go.
So Ring of Honor this week, as Sean said earlier, we have the New Japan guys on here some. We open, however, with Michael Elgin and Silas Young going one-on-one. This is a really good match. I enjoyed it immensely, not only because both these guys are some of my favorites in Ring of Honor, but just the psychology, the back and forth. They do a really, really good job. However, this is taped a while ago, so you don't have the immediate fallout of Silas Young and the boys or anything like that going on here. So it's kind of but the wrestling, however, is on point.
Yes, it is. It is very much on point. And, just to start this show off with this was nice for me personally because you get a chance to see, of course, they don't bring anything from the show into this, just to let everybody know because this is so close. And in fact, I think they filmed this show or they taped it before the pay-per-view. Am I wrong on that?
No, you are correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm making sure because they pretend on commentary that I'm gonna go get I'm gonna buy it back and watch it over again, but it hasn't even happened yet. So, but yeah, this match was a blast to watch. I mean, I didn't know who to root for, to be honest with you, because I like both guys, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We move on from a power display to crazy flippy display. ACH and Caprice Coleman. Another good match. It's short. It's sweet. ACH, I believe, gets the win here if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes.
Yeah. And then post-match is where it gets really interesting because Cedric Alexander is handed an envelope by Prince Nana. Carino comes in, asks him about it. There's money and a letter in it. Coleman says he gets it, and none of you are right. I get it before, and then he walks out. So there's some stuff happening with Coleman here at Nana, which I'm totally down for because I love Prince Nana. And ACH gets another win, which is helpful.
Definitely. And ACH needs as many wins as he can get. Very exciting. And this match was exciting, too. Caprice did an excellent job. You can't sell him short as well. And this whole thing with the envelope, I'm intrigued. I really am. So I can't wait to see the next episode. of ROH, just to know what's going on with that situation.
Yeah, I'm all about that embassy. So anything with Nana, I am sold on. But enough with storyline stuff, because now it's time for New Japan to rock the show. Kazuchika Okada, Roppongi Vice, taking on the Briscoes and Hiroki Goto. This was all kinds of awesome. Terrific match. Almost ventures into really, really, really great, to where you should go watch the show no matter where you are. But early workings of comedy. There's some hard-hitting stuff that you would expect. It's a great main event. It's good paced. It's everything you see in New Japan with six-man. I just can't say enough good things about it.
Oh, definitely. Once again, I mean, I don't want to sell people short that we're not trying to get in depth with this, but I mean, there's so much you could sit here and we could break this thing down. If time allowed us to, we would. But, you know, this is just worth we need to come up with a term for this, Paul. Something that, you know, instead of us going on and saying you need to watch this, it just needs to be like, this is a King's match. I don't know. Something that we could just bring up, because this is one of those matches you got to watch it. Maybe we should just call it must see. This is must see. You've got to see it. NBC, don't sue us. So,
does NBC even still have must see Wednesday anymore or whatever? How do you know?
I haven't heard that term in a while, so I feel okay. I don't think the lawyers will be contacting me anytime soon.
God, we're dating. You know, if you're younger than we are, you have no idea what we're talking about.
Just enjoy it. I came up with it on my own.
I mean, that's your Ring of Honor. There's not a lot of storyline stuff. As we said, this was taped before the pay-per-view, but the wrestling is on point.
It is. It definitely is. And, you know, like I said, we could break down the match and all that, but, I mean, it's just worth your time to go check out. If you don't have, access to it, talk to somebody who does. Contact us, and we can probably lead you in the right direction, because you definitely need to check this out. And trust me, if you get into watching episodes like this of Ring of Honor, it's going to hook you. Trust me, it will hook you. So, but yeah, no, that was a pretty great amount of Ring of Honor in one segment, but we love it, and a lot of great stuff in there for sure. So, well, guys, we are going to move on from here, and we are actually getting into a preview that we promised you. We are going to preview Destruction Kobe. So we're going to go ahead and get into that. Sean, did you want to lead us down this path?
Sure.
King of Sport. New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Alright. Let me get to I had it and then I'll lose it again. Alright, so the Destruction in Kobe card starts out with your Young Lions all in one match, excluding the newest one, which will be in the next match. But David Finlay and Jay White against Sho Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu. Always great to see the Young Lions just developing. These guys are just great. Every time I watch them, they entertain me. So, what do you guys think? Who wins here?
I think these are two teams that I don't think you should be surprised if you see them mixing it up for the junior heavyweight tag team titles at some point in the near future. And hopefully it's these two conglomerations of teams, because I think Sho Tanaka and Yohei Komatsu have some really good chemistry together. Not only as opponents due to the 10 million times they wrestled each other, but I think there's something there as a tag team too. I think David Finlay and Jay White also work really well together. I'm going to go Tanaka and Komatsu here, but it could go either way, and I don't think anybody's going to be mad if it does go either way. So
I'll go with the Japanese team too.
Give me Finlay's team.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, so we move on to a 6-man tag, which we're going to get varieties of tags here, so be ready for this monotony. Jushin Thunder Liger, the new NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion Tiger Mask for Yuji Nagata against Captain New Japan. Juice Robinson, the former CJ Parker. This is the first time, they had 4, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 Road to Destruction shows. I was not watching all those. So I didn't get to see Juice Robinson at all. They took him off the card for the Okayama show because something happened and they had to put Cody Hall. What's his face? Yujiro Takahashi's still hurt, so they had to put Cody Hall in that tag match with AJ. So they took Juice off the card. So this will be the first time, if you're only watching the big shows, that you get to see CJ Parker wrestle in Japan. He's, of course, one of the new Young Lions. And Manabu Nakanishi is also on that side of the team. I'm gonna go with Liger's team because anytime Captain New Japan is on the other side, you know who's losing.
I told you, and you said that, Sean. You said, "Oh no, New Japan wins sometimes." I
he
look at
does
this
win
now.
sometimes, though.
It ain't often.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was trying to say. So I'm with you, Sean, on this. If it's, I'm going the opposite of Captain New Japan.
I'm really interested to see how CJ Parker works over here, or Juice Robinson, which might be the best wrestling name I've ever heard in my life. See how he works over here. It's a whole new style. Hopefully he has something different, because CJ Parker wasn't all that thrilling of a wrestler at times. So let's see how much he gets to cut loose and do what he wants to do over here. Go for it.
Question. Juice, is his name spelled Juice? How's he spell his name?
Yes.
Juice.
Okay, so they need to have him dating somebody now by the name of Jen. That way you could say Jen and Juice. Just saying. Go ahead.
Hang back. I'm going to go... You know what? I'm going to be different. I'm going to say that Juice somehow pins one of these other guys miraculously.
Okay.
Yeah, that's if Nakanishi can get to the other side of the ring before.
Hey man, he's only got to get there and hit that lariat before somebody dies.
True.
So we're gonna get into the 8-man tag variety. We got a portion of chaos here with Beretta and Rocky Romero, of course, Roppongi Vice, and Tomohiro Ishii and Yoshihashi, who they were a big-time team in the G1. I mean, I swear they were like in every freaking tag there was possibly in. Against, I think this is the first time we've seen whatever left of existence that there is of the Great Bash Heel tag team with Togi Makabe and Tomoaki Hanma together, along with Mascara Dorada and Ryusuke Taguchi. I'm going to go with Chaos winning. Just, they're probably not losing this match here.
Hanma, I don't want to go against him here. You're probably right in saying Chaos. I'm going to go the other way and say Hanma somehow pulls out a win here. I'd like to think... he only got the one win in the G1, but I'd like to think we're onto something now. So
he does win tag matches, though.
This is difficult. I'm going to go Chaos.
All right, fair enough. All right, so we get into a big match that I know Gary is waiting to see. I know he didn't get to really see a lot of the build-up between the two, that we got to see a lot through the G1 and everything, but this has been awesomeness personified. Anytime these two get in there, is it a 6-man or 8-man? Yeah, it's an 8-man. I think that they have it there in the Yokoyama show. They continue that there. So Katsuyori Shibata against Tetsuya Naito. Quite possibly two future guys leading New Japan, along with Okada. So, who you got in this one? Certainly could go either way.
I never go against Naito.
I'm struggling to go against Naito here too, because I really, really, really want to see a program where Naito is at the top of his game going into the Tokyo Dome show this coming January, and he gets that big win that he's been searching for there, and Tanahashi wins the title again, and that's your feud going forward. And I really think that could sell some tickets for New Japan. So I'm going to go Naito here too, but you shouldn't sell Shibata short either.
I think the heelish ways of Naito is going to present something that, as much as Shibata's going to want to beat him into oblivion, and that was part of the thing with the other show, was that Shibata just kept beating him up, and Naito kept smiling about it. So you can just see that Naito has no problem being a sock puppet and continuing on. I think Naito finds a way to win here, even though I'm also in the same group as Paul that says, don't be surprised at all if maybe Shibata gets the win here either. So we move along here to, thank God, the last multi-man tag match on the show. Bullet Club of AJ Styles, Tama Tonga, and I guess Yujiro is fine for this show. That's still listed on the official New Japan site too, so who knows, maybe it becomes a scratch later on against other members of Chaos of Kazuchika Okada, Kazushi Sakuraba, and Toru Yano. Who do you guys got in this one?
This is AJ Styles has the match with Okada for the IWGP title at King of Pro Wrestling in October, which isn't very far away actually. It's October 12th. I'm gonna go with the Bullet Club here, and I'm gonna say that AJ pins Sakuraba. But there's a whole lot of B team on that Bullet Club team.
Oof. Yeah, it's difficult, but I think I'm with Paul on this. I think the Bullet Club has got the W here.
I don't want to tip a hand because I'm kind of cheating if I say one thing or another. So I just don't want to I don't want to spoil any kind of results, even though it is about 2 days old by now from the other show. So I'll just keep it quiet on this here. We get our first of the title matches. There's 3 of them in a row here. The IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles are on the line as Red Dragon take on the Time Splitters in what will be, I'm sure, a fantastic match to watch. Who do you think Time Splitters get the titles back, or do they get the titles, or do Red Dragon retain? Because certainly Red Dragon have been protected in New Japan.
I still wish the belts were on the Young Bucks just because I want stability. So in that same thinking, I'm gonna go Red Dragon, but it would make for, well, we're not talking about the other show. Okay, never mind. Red Dragon. And just forget I was going to mention anything else.
For that reason, I'll go Red Dragon.
Yeah, that's the thing with this match also, is that you can see it going a certain way because of something that happened in the previous show to kind of redeem things. But I don't know, man. I think that you have to just go with a tag team that has the titles and stick with it, like Paul's saying. Like, at some point, you have to show that we're going with this team, they're your champions, now we're going to build up other teams to beat them. I'm going to hope that happens in Red Dragon here. So after this, we have the first briefcase number 1 contender defense for Hiroshi Tanahashi here. Basically, if Tanahashi loses, then he loses the briefcase. So it looks like the Money in the Bank case, but it's not the same thing because that title shot is guaranteed for the Tokyo Dome. He just has to defend his title shot, unlike what happens with Sheamus where he just gets to cash in whenever. So I think I sort of like the New Japan way myself, but different strokes for different companies, I guess. Tanahashi's going to win this. There's no way. Bad luck Fale. I mean, I'm sure Fale will do everything to make it close, considering the size difference and everything, but can't imagine Fale winning this.
Nor can I. There's no reason to. Unless New Japan, unless Jado and Gato have a stroke and think Bad Luck Fale is going to do work at the Tokyo Dome for him, Tanahashi's winning this bad boy.
Yeah, definitely Tanahashi. If Fale was the win, I'd be very depressed.
Well, some people already think that Jado must have had a stroke the way things are going in Noah, so who knows? But that's another company that people probably know less about than this one. So we get on with the main event, which is a match we have seen now. This will be the 4th time this year. Hiroki Goto defending his IWGP Intercontinental title against Shinsuke Nakamura. Now, because Nakamura didn't win the G1, I don't think it's totally out of the realm of possibility that Nakamura wins back the title here. I just really don't want to see it happen. I want to see Goto defend it against somebody else. And I do want to see that, like, I want to see whenever Goto gets his title shot against Okada that it's both titles are there. But what do you think, Paul?
I'm going Goto here. I really like Shinsuke Nakamura is top 5 in the world right now, but just that's all there is to it. And there's nothing wrong, I think, with giving him the belt back. But I'm with you. There's so much more possibilities with Goto with the belt. Not only can we have that Elgin match for the belt that we all want to see, Goto chasing after the dream of uniting the Intercontinental and the heavyweight title would be very cool to see. And not only that, but I think Shinsuke Nakamura heading around, just bombing around, trying to get his way back to the IWGP title is a fun story to follow. So hopefully this is the last time he'll be flirting with the Intercontinental Championship for a while.
I'm going to go Goto here too.
Yeah, I like Paul's theory, so I'm going Goto.
Well, there's your card for the Destruction in Kobe. Like I said, on Sunday night, we'll be reviewing both the Destruction at Okayama cards and the Destruction in Kobe card. Hopefully, Tom Reese will be able to stick around for both shows. We're going to be doing it actually much earlier than we usually do the specials. So we're going to be doing it during the Sunday Night Football game. So I know for some people that are just big football fans, you might have to make a decision there. But hopefully you'll want to listen to us because I'm sure there will be a lot to talk about, a lot to break down there. And as Paul mentioned, the triumvirate of shows ends with King of Pro Wrestling on the 12th, which is actually a Monday morning. So we're going to be doing our first ever WTM special on a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Because New Japan decides they want to have shows on a Monday. So,
and of
God
course,
bless time difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to let everybody know, hey, if you are watching football, hey, you can always just pull us up live on Spreaker.com and just listen to us while you watch the game.
That's going to be hard for Paul, too. I feel bad.
Figures it's the Broncos game.
Oh, no.
Why do you guys hate me?
Sorry, Paul. Sorry.
No, it'll be real interesting as my mom will be here watching the game, too, and she is not quiet about her football opinion, so...
So we may hear, ah!
Oh, it will be a lot of, run!
Oh, man, that's good. So, well, of course, guys, once again, don't forget that is Sunday night during the game. Well, we're going to move on. We have one more review to do. That is TNA Impact, so we right back with that.
TNA Impact Wrestling.
Alright, I feel so bad. I've been more quiet than talking on the show, and I'm going to have to do that role again here for this TNA review. I know it's been like the third straight week I haven't watched TNA. It's just, man, there was so much. I didn't realize when I took that break on Wednesday that there was so much stuff we had to watch. And I had my kid there the whole day on Wednesday because, schools decide that they want to just have teacher meetings and say, oh, screw you. Doesn't matter if you have work, you got to take off. So I had to do that. I was like, okay, I'll just watch wrestling on Thursday. And then, I was like, oh, crap, there's like 12 hours of stuff. That's not happening. So hopefully, Gary and Paul will be able to just continue doing things like they did during the ROH stuff. So we should be good here. So this is the show after the GFW invasion thing is over now. Dixie's having her opening deal to pretty much tell us that, it's over with GFW. and that, Dixie's thanking the company, thanking the guys that helped her get TNA back, and that basically, they're going to get to fight for the right to main event Bound for Glory in a TNA title match during the show. Eric Young apparently couldn't be fired because he has a, wait for it, ironclad contract, guys.
Whoa.
Of all the people that have ironclad contracts, Eric Young. Jeez.
Clearly, the person with the ironclad contract is Bram.
Yeah, for sure on that one. He got suspended and he's still wrestling.
And Chris Melendez is getting another match with Eric Young, a lumberjack match. Awesome.
Yeah.
And that match happens right after the break. What did you guys think of Eric Young versus Chris Melendez?
So here's me. I'm turning on the TV. Here comes, TNA intro. Whoa, let's go. In my head, I'm thinking Sean is dying a little on the inside. Dixie comes out. I'm dying a little on the inside, but the promo's good. And we're talking about what we're doing post GFW, and it's interesting. And we're, she's rewarding the people. And then here comes Eric Young. Okay. And then here comes Chris Melendez, and suddenly I'm very sad.
True story. I felt Paul's pain. I could feel it from here. And that's the same way I felt too. I mean, I just, can't they be done with this? Why aren't they done with this?
Why keep torturing us?
Yes, I mean, my God. So, yeah.
I guess he's got to win that leg back, right? Somebody will really be upset if they see him walking around with that.
I'd be okay with him just attacking EY in the back, putting the leg on, and then walking out the building. Just walks out into the sunset, never to be seen again.
Yeah,
you did your work, hero.
Oh, and thanks, you went ahead and killed Eric Young in the process, too. That'd be great.
Oh, well, we can't ask too much now.
Yeah, really.
I guess it would be asking too much. So, after this, we get Taryn telling the Dollhouse telling Jade to go after Gail Kim. And we get Gail Kim versus Jade. Knockout title match. Or is it? Yeah, it's a knockout title match. So, apparently lots of stuff happened in this. What do you guys think here?
So, you read, if you're into women's wrestling at all, and you discount the fact that Mia Yim has been treated like crap here in TNA, I think if you read anywhere on a billboard on, the big glowing sign, Gail Kim versus Mia Yim tonight, you're going to get some ticket sales. Because Lord knows I want to see that match. This is not that side of the match you want to see. They start out really good. It's back and forth. And then here comes the shenanigans. And it's over the top shenanigans. Rebel and Marty Bell come in. And then we have Velvet Sky Madison Rain hit the ring. And it just degenerates into there. And then here comes Awesome Kong. And it's just... I wanted to see Mia Yim and Gail Kim, guys. Can I not get that? Okay.
Yeah, it's like when you invite, just, 2 or 3 people to a party, and then the next thing you know, you have a bunch of people that are extended friends, and it's like, okay, this was going to be fun, now it's just awkward and not as fun. So, that's the way I felt.
Nailed it.
Certainly, Gary, you hit that one on the head. I just don't know when TNA decided that their women's division was now just, let's pack everybody in, because that's all we know how to do with them, apparently. I don't get it. I mean, I thought this was supposed to be like one of your big things. Yeah. What happened to that? I guess it's like the X Division. They just don't want it to have any semblance of what it used to be.
I haven't a clue how to answer that one for you, man. It's mind-boggling is the word.
Yeah, truthfully. Oh. Anyway, well, speaking of, hey, Kenny King also got to show up on two shows. Well, not two shows, but he got to show up in 2 companies in the span of like 5 days or 6. I don't know how many days it was, but that's pretty astounding. Kenny King, Tigre Uno against Kenny King here. Considering where Kenny King went, you know he's not winning this match. Considering how he's been booked on TNA, period. But how did you feel about the X Division title here?
Larry sums it up best on his review at 401. They worked hard, they didn't get much time, and we were given no real reason to care. 10 out of 10, Larry. You nailed it.
That sounds like the X Division, just the way it's been for a long while now.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, exactly. And, you know, you get, you know, what you get from these guys. They work hard, like you said, but, you know, it's just a shame because at the same time, you just don't have a whole lot of substance with these guys. But, you know, it is what it is.
It's a damn shame.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your close personal friend there, Paul, he had to defend his TNA World title against Rockstar Spud.
It's a fine match. You know, there's just no heat. It's sort of, muddied, I guess, because it's about the Hardys right now, and Rockstar Spud sort of feels tacked on, which is a real shame because he deserves better, especially with the history he's had with EC3. It doesn't have that same spark that made their other encounters more memorable. This is just sort of blah.
It's a cold fish, as Rusev would say.
Oh, yes. Ruru. Yeah.
Yeah, a Ruru, yes. So, yeah. So, there you go. That's all you need to know.
We got to put that into the show somewhere.
Exactly.
Ruru for life, Sean.
Yes. Those shirts will be coming out. Don't you worry. So... but no, I mean, really, honestly, I mean, I love Rockstar Spud.
You get more shenanigans. See, it's like this whole show was shenanigans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
God, Shenanigans McGee couldn't get more play than this, you know. So after this, we get more James Storm, Manic and Abyss, and Mahabali Shera. And oh my God, if they go to India and the whole show is about Mahabali Shera, I think I'm just going to turn TNA off forever.
Yep.
That's the plan, guys, apparently. Are we super excited?
I'm very mild.
Yeah, I
mean, like, I get the whole wanting to make a global star or something, but I just... Does anybody freaking see that with him? I mean, I don't know how you could.
He has the look. I think that's all he's got. I haven't seen anything in the ring that's made me go, he could get better. I haven't seen anything character-wise that makes me think he could be a standout character or anything like that. So, I don't know. There's some good to be taken from the Revolution breaking up. TJ Perkins or Manic or Puma or whatever you want to call him. Great worker. Hopefully he gets to do something out of this. I still enjoy Abyss from time to time. James Storm, whatever. But the pieces that are breaking up out of this, I think, could prove to be interesting. So
certainly on that end, Gary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same way, you know, and it's just I get the whole dancing thing with him and trying to be, you know, fun for the crowd, but I just don't know. None of that gets over for me.
Fair enough. So maybe something that will get over for you. The 5-way number one contenders elimination match between Drew Galloway, Lashley, Bram. Pre-tape TNA doesn't understand that Bram did some terrible things.
Right.
Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards. If you've already seen the card for Bound for Glory, you already know who won this match. But, yeah. What do you guys think? Getting to watch it.
This and EC3 are the reason why you should have watched Impact this week. This match was really quite good. It goes about 12 minutes or so. I think Drew Galloway is the right call here. Although Lashley would be a good way to go too. But I think Drew Galloway is a fine wrestler, fine worker, who definitely deserves his fair shot again at EC3. So I'm all right here with all this.
Yeah, no problems at all for me either. I mean, Galloway's the guy. He's the one that you want there in that spot, and them putting him in a position is definitely a plus for me. So probably, for me, the best thing that happened on the show.
All right, and well, the ending is EC3 threatening to fire Jeff Hardy. How do you like how this all went down?
This is a really fun. It's a fine segment. It feels like we're sort of hot-shotting Jeff, turning on EC3, a little earlier in the match, earlier in his last match, wherever him and Matt sort of start fighting off EC3 and all that. But they sort of get into this really overdone apology. But really, I think what won EC3 over here was me calling him up before the segment, going, "Hey man, you can't have Jeff quit because we need him to drive the limo." And he goes, "Oh yeah, man, I'm sorry, I forgot that." So. Thankfully, EC3, decided to ignore me because he fired him.
Oh man, you would think he'd respect you more than that, Paul.
Well, it just means we're back to Tyrus driving the limo, and it's smelly in there with him.
I can understand, especially on Taco Tuesdays,
Oh, jeez, man. You don't even want to know about Taco Tuesday.
Oh. Wow.
Meatloaf Wednesday.
No. We don't talk about Meatloaf Wednesday either, Sean.
That's the day that Paul takes Uber. And they don't sponsor this show, so we're not talking about them anymore. Until they do sponsor the show when we all take Uber.
Well, my car could use a break, so that might be. I don't know if I want to pay the Uber people. Especially, don't be I certainly won't be like that one idiot that decided to steal some Uber driver's phone. Oh, watch out, leaving your belongings in Uber cars. Yeah, so, apparently, Bound for Glory, they kept adding matches. So, it's, T. Gray's going to defend against 3 other people. The Wolves will take on Trevor Lee and Brian Myers. So we'll still have some GFW interactions there. Gail Kim taking on Awesome Kong. EC3 against Drew Galloway. And I think they've added some other matches that I don't know right at the moment. So at least they're shaping up Bound for Glory. Oh, God. That means we got to talk about that show, too. Oh.
It's the 4th. God bless your wrestling, you're throwing everything at us.
Yeah. So I guess we have a really packed show on that Thursday following, since we got to talk about what is it? There's something. Oh, the takeover.
Yeah.
On that same Thursday, and then we'd also have to preview, I guess, Kings of Pro Wrestling on that Thursday too. So God, that show's gonna be loaded.
Tune in, fans. We might be dead.
Yeah. You may actually hear us die on air, so this will be a lot of fun. So, so we don't die now. How about we move on and go ahead and finish the show up by crowning a Superstar of the Week? How about that, guys? We'll be right back after this.
Hold on one moment there, Buster, as my computer is deciding, hey, no, you're not going to move on right this second.
All right, we have the, Paul, it's, you can always do it.
Hold on, now it,
okay.
I don't know, unless you have some De La Soul queued up for me.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
Superstar of the Week.
All right, Paul, who you got?
At number 5, I got Drew Galloway winning number 1 contendership to face my good, close, personal friend EC3 at Bound for Glory. 4, I gave to Makabe. He retained his Never Openweight Championship at the Destruction show that we're reviewing on Sunday. Cheap plug. 3 goes to Kenny Omega, who also won the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title from Kushida at that same show that we'll be reviewing on Sunday. 2 goes to Seth Rollins. Fantastic work the whole weekend. I don't think he is capable of having a bad match. It's just not in his DNA. Number 1, Jay Lethal. Also not capable of having a bad match, but he has the added benefit of retaining both titles that Seth Rollins did not.
Sean?
I'm going to switch my number 5 with the New Day retaining their titles. Everything else Paul said is my list.
All right, I got number 5 for me. New Day. Kevin Owens is at number 4 for me.
There's just so much stuff.
Oh yeah. Number 3, Kenny Omega, and my number 2 has to be Seth Rollins. 1 is Jay Lethal for basically working hard and winning both his titles, or keeping them. I guess you would say retaining them in one night. So great job for him, and definitely. He is our superstar of the week, so congratulations to Jay Lethal this week. Man, it has been a blast, guys. We've had a lot of fun. We can't wait to talk to you again on Sunday. We are going to have a big show. It's going to be New Japan all the way, so come check out that show. Sunday night, it'll be earlier, so hey, if you're around live, around... Sean, what would you say? We're going to try to start around 6 p.m., 7 p.m.? What time do you think we would like to start the show?
I probably have to, 6 would be like, I think it'd have to be more like 7 or 8, because I usually get off work around 5.
Okay. Well,
I'll probably try to watch it. I might watch it live, so I'd have the show done.
Okay.
But.
Well, check, you know what, guys? Check the Facebook page, and of course, and we'll let you know exactly what time we'll be starting, as well as, what to be looking forward to. So, also, we'll let you guys know that next Thursday, like we've already said, is going to be packed full of greatness. You don't want to miss that episode, so, tell your friends about it. And you be there as well to come check us out, talking about some of the big shows coming up. And, of course, Sean, we have a few other things we want to plug, so I'm going to let you plug some of our other stuff.
Yeah, certainly. If you don't know, we have now just created a W2M network that puts all three podcasts that I do, 2 that Gary does with me, all in one thing. There's a Facebook page you can go like that pretty much tells you when all the shows are going live, all in one sitting. It also, I still post them in the Wrestling Max group because, the other 2 are just, it would take a lot for me to make groups for them at this point. So that's kind of why I made the page, so that we can just all have them there in one deal. And also it gives you, everything that we're involved in that we write, whether it's, if Paul shows up on a article of 4PC, I put it in there, even though I'm the quizmaster, so I'll put it in there anyway. But if Paul shows up in a wrestling top 5, I'm gonna put it in there. If Gary shows up on something, Paul shows up on all the games top 5s most of the time that I organize. So I always make sure to let everybody know that Paul's been in there, so you can go read it. And of course, everybody else that's involved in our little thing, Randy. Anytime he does something with either his backlog busting deal or with 411 or whatever. So, if you want to know that we do things outside of the podcast, you can go there, like it, and you can read all of our stuff. If you like us that much. So, maybe you don't. Who knows? You can also go in there and tell us how crap everything is. Whatever works for you. So. We are the network is also available. If you like all the shows and you just don't want to have 3 shows all on the docket, in your subscription deal, you can subscribe to one feed and they're all there in one deal on Stitcher, iTunes, Satchel Media Player, and on Spreaker as well. So I'm trying to work on it with the other stuff. The other ones I have to go through a bunch of rigmarole, so I'm trying to get that going as quickly as I can, so we can get it involved there. And, but my Twitter has now become the WTM Network Twitter. So just go at WTM Network and you can just tweet at me or whatever, So also this podcast has its own stuff. You can find us pretty much wherever there are podcasts. You can also email us, wrestlingthemax@gmail.com, to tell us about anything you liked or disliked on the show, or just want to tell us that we're awesome or not awesome, whatever works for you. And hopefully, you guys will be doing the voting for the What We Watched segment that we're going to be starting to do in the voting sometime this week. I've been kind of slacking on that. It's just a lot to go through to try to figure out the certain shows that we want to put on there. Because I don't want to just do every awesome show, whatever. I want some, you guys really have to pick between, maybe some bad shows. Because sometimes reviewing bad shows can be just as fun. If not, we do it with TNA every week. Just get to laugh while we review the shows.
Ouch.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey, you know
So
what?
true.
Now that they're going to be alive for 3 more months, I guess we can play around with it, right?
That's right. So, all right, guys. Well, that hopefully wraps up a lot of our plugs. So, to let you know, please, we would love you to go rate and review us and do all that great stuff. Don't forget to do that and tell a friend. Hey, we'd love to hear from new people, and you can always, give us a call if you ever get a chance to hear us live. And if you don't, you can always leave a voicemail. The number is 972-591-8620. And you could, of course, leave those voicemails. We'd love to hear from you. So.
And if you like football, we just got done previewing all of the Week 3 games and talking about that Thursday night football game. So go check it out.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, without any further ado, we would love to see you next Thursday and, of course, this Sunday. But until then, always remember, if you're not living life to the max,
not living life at all.
You know it.
Peace. Oh, man. Did I really do that again?
Dun, 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 dun. Paul does it better.
I think I lost it there.